Broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
What a beautiful day it is. I feel good. I feel happy. I don't know what's come over me, but a sense of calm and happiness has come over me, Brad. And I hope those in KBN Nation and yourself can feel my vibe. I hope I'm infectious today.
You are infectious. I like optimistic Kyle.
Yeah.
I mean, we go through the roller coaster ride together, right? You know, now that the Packers season is over, maybe we'll get some more consistency because I know how much that can affect your mood, the mood of our listeners, even my mood. So I like this optimism I'm feeling. I am receiving it. So it's radiating, Kyle.
I'm glad you do receive this because typically it probably takes me about, 10 to 12 days after a Packers loss to really kind of feel better about myself and get over it. I feel good today, and nobody can bring me down.
Nobody can bring you down.
I mean, today so far, nobody can bring me down.
I hope at the end of 3 hours that you can still say that. I'm not trying to bring you down, but you just never know how this operates.
I hope I can still say that. This is KBN here on ESPN Wisconsin, 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, and 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam live from the One Call That's All Gruber Law offices. I'm Kyle. He's Brad Nortman, and I'm happy Kyle, and he is, I hope, happy Brad.
I am happy Brad. I mean, it's Wednesdays. You call it hump day, right, with so many times.
Is that what I call it, hump day?
Yeah. You don't remember saying that? Ben will throw it to you, and you'll say,
it's
happy hump day, baby.
Happy hump day.
It give you a hard time because it's like, it sounds like you're excited the week is going by and, that you're not happy about working.
Okay, yeah. I mean, usually...
I'm not going to call you that. But.
No, I usually, once we get over the hump of Wednesday, my week does go, perfectly in a great direction towards being happy and because the weekend's closer. Though I work, and you have in the past when you do Wisconsin College game day during the Badger football season, typically we work a lot of days anyways, but I love the fact that the weekends, I kind of get to move at my own pace for the most part. Even if I'm working, it's not an all-day work day. Like, I get to work at my own pace.
Yeah, I totally get that. And when it comes to the structure of the week, usually by Monday, I'm kind of like, I'm excited to get back on the air.
Really?
I am. I'm excited for Monday. I always feel like Tuesday is one of the harder days, though. I'm not going to lie. Because on Tuesday, you've kind of gotten over everything from the weekend, and you're trying to, move into it. By the time Wednesday, Thursday, Friday rolls around, it feels good. It feels like we're in a rhythm. It feels like we're rolling. So I like Wednesdays.
Yeah, Mondays are my worst. I mean, I feel like a lot of people feel like Mondays are the worst. I always have a case of the Mondays because Mondays, I got 5 days to get through, and I don't know how I'm going to get through these days. I enjoy doing the show. I enjoy what I do in life and work, but Mondays are always just a struggle. Fridays, it's like when it's cold outside and the sun's not out during the winter time, the sunset.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Yeah, that is me. Like, Monday feels like the winter and sunset at 4:30 during the winter. Like, by the time you go outside, you're like, dang, the sun's already gone. It's dark outside. That is Monday for me every single week.
Does that make Fridays or the summer of the week?
Oh, Friday is the summer, baby.
Summer, we're feeling good.
Listen, when we get to 4:45 and Gary Ellison joins us on Friday,
he always ends the week too well, right?
He does, whether we're singing great throwback songs or we're talking about 4 healthy lifestyles and Gary talking about feet, whatever it is always setting me in a great mood because I get to celebrate the fact that I am 15 minutes away from having my life back and not having to work for the man.
Do you support a 4-day work week, by the way?
I do not. I do, but I don't. Because here's the thing.
Well, you're a manager, too, you see this from a different view.
No, I see it from the view as, and here, I'm going to get on my soapbox. It is what it is.
Ooh.
America has become lazy. It has become soft and lazy. It's a slippery slope. Here's the thing. If we go to a 4-day work week, you know what they're going to say 15, 20 years from now?
3-day work week?
We need a 3-day work week. 40 hours is too much. I'm telling you, it's a slippery slope here in America. People used to work all the time, day and night on farms, farming and doing all this stuff for 6-7 days a week. And then we went down to a 5-day work week. And then we went from a 30-minute lunch to an hour lunch. And now everybody wants to do, 4-day work weeks. I am against it. Like, it sounds good, but I already know what's going to come next. 3-day work week. Like, it's ridiculous that we have to work. We have to work more days than we get to relax. We should be like other countries in Europe where they don't have to do all that.
Don't you think, though, that if people have higher morale, work harder, even if you stretch out the 40 days, maybe you do 4 10-hour days?
Nope, they wouldn't want to do that either. People leaving early, coming late. Listen, Ben ripped it. I don't think you were here that day when Ben ripped into our office because people a day before the holiday, decided they wanted to leave at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. He was ripped into people, and people would do that still. They would be like, oh, well, I worked 6 solid hours this week, and Thanksgiving's tomorrow. Like, what am I supposed to do?
That's true. Maybe this is one of those, like, give them an inch, they'll take
them out. Americans will take a mile. You give Americans anything, they will take a mile. That's why we're so fat now. You give them a little taste of something, we all want to eat it.
But I will say this, though. Europeans, they have taken a mile and then some. I mean, their work schedule, they're rolling in at 10, they're leaving at 4, 2-hour lunch,
Let
drinking
that stay
wine.
over there. Let that stay over
That's
here.
true. That's not the American work ethic.
It is not the American work ethic. You work until you're 80, and then you go to Florida and retire and die.
Wow. That is the life arc right there. Something we can all strive for.
I love America, baby.
Yeah, me too.
I really do. But you know what else I love, Brad?
What's that?
I love my Green Bay Packers.
Sure do.
But there is something that is becoming quite concerning. In 800-990-3776, that is the ESPN Wisconsin talk in text line. And I'm becoming a little weary about this timing. Now, I remember the loss the Green Bay Packers had against the 49ers. It was Saturday night. My Packers ended up choking. Same thing. Different year, same result for the Green Bay Packers, unfortunately. And then a couple of days later, Adrian Griffin got fired, I believe, on a Tuesday.
I think that's right.
And then on a Wednesday, we got early news that the Packers have decided to dismiss and move on from Joe Barry. It's been a week now, and we've heard about different candidates, but the Packers still have not made a decision. And some of the candidates that they have considered, the defensive coach from the Buffalo Bills, Babish. He's now the defensive coordinator. Now you got the defensive coordinator from the Baltimore Ravens taking the job with the Seattle Seahawks, and we were talking to 2 people from the Baltimore Ravens, and now one of them might end up getting promoted. Are you becoming concerned, like many people in Packer Nation, that this is taking a little bit too long to find Joe Barry's replacement, and we're going to be left with somebody who we really don't want?
I am getting concerned. I'm not at red alert yet. I'm not that concerned to where I'm freaking out. But it's one of those things where I thought we'd be closer by now. I thought that Matt LaFleur would be further along the interview process. And looking around the league, guys are getting hired as an offensive and defensive coordinators. Dorsey, the guy for the Bills, is going to the Browns. And as you said, Babish, who is the guy that we did interview as the Packers, he's going to be the defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills.
Guy who you know.
Can you believe this? So this goes to show how old I am, Kyle Wallace.
How old are you now?
When I was in Carolina, back in 2012 to 2016, Bobby Babish was like a GA. He was like an analyst. He was just like a dude. He was just a dude that would help out, and he would have to, write up the cards and all that kind of stuff. And now this guy is a defensive coordinator for a Super Bowl contender. Wild. What a rise to fame. Yeah, unbelievable.
That's what happened in work. You actually, work your way up, right?
That's true. Which way am I working? Because I was an NFL player. Now look at me.
You peaked early. You peaked early, but you're starting over fresh.
Yes.
In a new career. You were working in finance before, and I feel like you were doing great there, and now you have another opportunity to start from the bottom, and hopefully you'll end up like Drake. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
That's right.
Hopefully you're here will be us 10 years from now.
And this is a form of me peaking here on KBN, talking to you on the radio. So I love it. I love what I'm doing, and this is me peaking. I'll take a day in the NFL, a day on air in Wisconsin. Tomato to me.
Not me. Give me the NFL.
Yeah, that's probably fair. But anyway, the Green Bay Packers, when the problem is you're looking at now, you had all these, you had one of the few openings as a defensive coordinator with the Green Bay Packers, right? And you had all these potential candidates that you're courting, you're interviewing, you're trying to figure out who's the right fit, who has the right scheme. Before you know it, there are now more opportunities, therefore more competition, because guess what? McDonald, the defensive coordinator for the Ravens that just took the head coaching job for the Seahawks, he's going to need a D coordinator. So likely one of those Ravens defensive coaches that the Packers have interviewed, they're likely going to be hired there as a defensive coordinator. The Baltimore Ravens now have an opening. They will likely step into one of those roles to also take the Ravens D coordinator job. So before you know it, and the D coordinator for the Carolina, they're blocking their interviews. So before you know it, it felt like the Packers were in the driver's seat. There's all these different candidates, and here we go. We're gonna have the pick of the litter and a new chance at remaking this Packers defense. They still have that opportunity, but Raheem Morris for the Rams got a head coaching job too. The Rams have an opening, so there are a lot of interesting opportunities for all these different guys to go to. So the Packers are now competing. They used to be in the driver's seat. Now they're competing to try to get the best candidate for the job. And I feel like they should act quickly. If it's this time next week and there's still no defensive coordinator hired, I will be on red alert, red flag. Something has gone wrong. Right now, I'm sort of at a low boil where I'm thinking, okay, I can't fault Matt LaFleur for taking his time. But with every passing day, it becomes harder and harder to get your guy. So Matt LaFleur should maybe walk with a little bit of urgency to make sure you're getting those second interviews. And if you love a guy, if you want to get after a guy and have this be your dude, to make your mark now, because it's only going to get harder with each passing day.
Yeah, my concern level isn't high quite yet, because there hasn't been the last time it seemed like the front runner and they made a decision that they wanted to hire Jim Leonard, and Jim Leonard turns you down. What I don't want us is to fall in the same situation and scenario where we're picking our second choice. We're not picking our first choice. And with the time that we're taking, I'm putting my trust in Matt LaFleur and hoping that Matt is doing his due diligence and feels like he has a lot of different people he's looking for, or he hasn't found the guy that he really wants. And so I'm actually going to trust the process and trust in Matt LaFleur that he's taking his time, and we're not going to miss out on anybody that he truly wants. But my concern level did get a little bit higher because I had personally bought into the fact that, hey, let's try to get somebody from the Baltimore Ravens because of the fact that they have a defense that has been consistent and solid for, it seems like, the last 20 some odd years. So getting somebody from that tree, a young up-and-comer, might be something that's positive for the Green Bay Packers. But like you said, with McDonald now going over to Seattle, the pickings may be slim out there in Baltimore. But I'm going to stay calm. I'm going to stay good. I'm going to stay positive because that's what I've been, and I'm not going to panic here quite yet.
Yeah, not to panic yet. It's starting to make me a little bit maybe impatient. That's the right word, where it's like, okay, we're seeing these guys that Matt LaFleur is hiring, starting to get a little impatient because moves are being made. You don't want the Packers to be the odd man out. You ever played that game, the musical chairs?
Oh, one of my favorite games to play.
I could see you being a pretty aggressive musical chairs guy, right? You're pulling the chair away and you're bumping other. I wasn't
pulling away, but I was definitely hip pumping men, women, and children. They were all getting hip bumps with me.
I was the same way, and that's what I want to see. I want to see Matt LaFleur, because he's in a game of musical chairs with these defensive coordinators. I want to see him being bumping and moving and shoving the others out of the way to get their guy. Usually, this is how it works. You're going to set a list of candidates, right? So Matt LaFleur, and the season's over. Before the season was even over, he probably knows these are the guys I respect. These are the next men up. These are the guys I want to hire to replace Joe Barry. Usually it's a process of 2 interviews. One of interview of get to know one another, philosophy, how well do you know the team? Another interview usually occurs then of Matt LaFleur is probably pulling film and saying, these are our guys. This is a situation that's beat us. What would you do in this situation? And then, kind of quiz them that way. How well do you know our guys? Where would you put Gary? How would you play Jair Alexander? Mm-hmm. How do you feel about Quay Walker? One of the big things that the new defensive coordinator can do, walking in and saying, I know how to use the ingredients you guys already have to elevate this defense. We don't have to change anything significantly. So pulling film and talking through philosophy is a big deal. We've seen a lot of first interviews. I'm curious if many second interviews are happening. If they aren't, I hope they're happening soon.
800-990-3776. The Green Bay Packers dismissed Joe Barry on January 24th, and we still now, a week later, do not have a replacement or even any type of inkling of a front runner coming out. And there's a lot of movement in the NFL, and some of the guys that they have interviewed are either no longer available or potentially could be going other places due to some coaching movement. 800-990-3776. That is the ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line. You can join in right now like my guy Mike in Menominee Falls. You're on KBN.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Listening to maybe his best candidates are still coaching for the 49ers and Kansas City, and he can't talk to these guys yet until after the Super Bowl. What do you think about that idea?
That's certainly a possibility. It's one of those things where if that's the case, I hope Matt LaFleur is very certain that he can get them and they're going to have a quick interview process, because I would hate to wait on a guy in hopes that you might be able to get him. But in the end, all the other candidates go and you've been holding out for, you're holding out to ask your date. And meanwhile, then everyone gets asked and then you're left going to the dance alone. So to me,
you never experienced that, did you?
But they haven't even talked to anybody from the Chiefs or the 49ers. I don't know what this guy's talking about, because there's none of the rumored names out there coincide with the Chiefs or the 49ers.
That's true. And usually,
look at the Lions. Ben Johnson, he interviewed for a couple of jobs already with the Lions, and they were in the playoffs. The Chiefs and the Niners have been in the playoffs. So I don't think anybody from the Niners or the Chiefs is going to be the next Packers defensive coordinator.
Particularly if they're not already a defensive coordinator, which neither defensive coordinator would become the Packers defensive coordinator between Wilkes and Spagnuolo. But if it was one of their assistant coaches, you are allowed to interview if it is a vertical movement, right? So in the NFL, if you're an assistant and you interview for a coordinator, if you're still on the team, you are allowed to go interview for that. I remember during our Super Bowl run, we had several coaches.
Was that a distraction?
It can be, for sure. It's double duty for the coach. Did
it hurt? Do you think it hurt you guys a little bit because of the fact that you guys probably had some hot commodities on that staff, especially a Ron Rivera coaching staff as well?
I don't think it hurt us that much. I think we were out of sync, and I think that.
Go ahead, Cam. It was Cam's fault. It was Cam's fault. And ankle, whatever it was, that was on Cam. He win and lose with Superman, and Superman wasn't super that day.
Yeah,
my boy Brad had to lift his leg up too many dang times. 7 punts,
8 punts,
8 punts,
something like that.
Gosh. You knew y'all wasn't winning.
I don't think. It's just not a huge deal if a coach can handle it. It just makes double work for them. McDermott was the big coach that was getting double interviews. Our defense actually played pretty well that game. So I don't think any other coach from the Super Bowl staffs are being courted to do it, because especially if it's an assistant, they could be interviewing them right now.
800-990-3776. That's the ESPN Wisconsin talking text line. You can call in. You can text in as well, as we're just trying to figure out if you have any concerns. Are you worried about how long it is taking the Green Bay Packers to find a new defensive coordinator? I know if you're like me as a Packer fan, you are getting a little antsy because this is holding us back for be able to get a full view of what the future could look like and figuring out what this defense is going to be moving forward. 800-990-3776. That's the talking text line. KBN, more is next.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman, KBN.
And I said, it just came out. I said, are y'all going to talk the whole show like this? Good for you. For the next 25 minutes, all they said was they started ribbing me. Oh, you going to clap like that the whole time? You going to laugh like that the whole time?
No.
You going to lay back like that the whole time? Why don't y'all go sit over in them open seats?
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Badger football fans, Brad Nortman here, inviting you to the Big Red Rally, an evening full of fun, football, and food, hosted at the Italian Community Center in downtown Milwaukee on February 8th. Meet the Badgers' newest recruits and hear directly from head coach Luke Fickell. Tickets to the Big Red Rally can be purchased individually or in tables of 10, with special discounts for UW-Madison grads. Jump around downtown Milwaukee to the Big Red Rally on February 8th and be part of the tradition. Visit uwalumni.com/events for more information. I will see you there.
Hey, it's Kyle Wallace for the Bath Authority. If your bath or shower is old, outdated, has mold and mildew, or broken tiles, you gotta call my friends at the Bath Authority. The Bath Authority provides the highest quality bathroom remodeling products along with a world-class customer experience. Elevate your bathroom to a new level of luxury, style, and safety. Schedule your free in-home estimate today and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. TheBathAuthority.com. A better bath awaits.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor, Southeastern Wisconsin's beer, liquor, and wine headquarters. For over 60 years, 7 different decades, all as a local family-owned business. Discount Liquor has a selection with over 14,000 varieties of beer, liquor, and wine in stock, along with everyday low prices, expert service, and convenience with 2 locations. But don't just take my word for it. Let's check out some online reviews. Robert wrote, "There's not a better liquor store around. Nobody even comes close to their beer selection. The only issue? I get brain overload because there are so many choices." And Aubrey recalled, "I went in looking for a very specific and rare dessert wine. They not only knew of it, but special ordered it and called us when it was available for pickup. Just can't beat their service. Thanks, Robert and Aubrey, for your kind words and patronage. Discount Liquor in Milwaukee on 51st in Oklahoma and in downtown Waukesha on Main and Barstow.
For over 4 decades, one name has stood out as a symbol of excellence in automotive sales and service. It's the Boucher Automotive Group, dedicated to providing exceptional experiences to all of our valued customers.
We will help you find the perfect vehicle within your budget while respecting your time.
With 20 convenient locations, we're the one-stop destination for all your automotive needs.
At Boucher, we're your trusted partner on every mile of your journey, riding with you every mile since 1977.
Check out our brand new Hyundai dealership, one of the largest in the Midwest.
Step inside of our state-of-the-art showroom where you can view our new Hyundai models and some of our finest certified pre-owned.
We've also expanded our service center, staffed by our factory-certified technicians.
And right next door, we've started construction on our all-new Genesis of Waukesha dealership.
But we're not just building walls, we're building careers.
So if you're looking for a career with great benefits and opportunity for growth, Boucher is the place for you.
At Boucher, we ride with you every mile.
It's time for the Ortho ASAP Minute from Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin.
Dr. Sam Steiner is with me. So someone suffers a sports injury and walks into OAW. What's next?
In some cases, setting them up with a sports therapist through our facility and seeing if they can get back into what they want to do without surgery. And then in other cases, when we see them back, we follow them along. You're not assessing just their injury, you're assessing the patient. You want to understand their expectations. And based on that, that's where you go down a treatment algorithm to get them back into what they want to do.
Is it tough to take into account the human aspect of things and not just focus on the injury?
I think it's very challenging. And like I said, you have to be invested in the people you take care of to understand where they're coming from and what their expectations are. They just can't be a number and look at, say, an MRI and say, well, you have this, then we're going to do this. I think in every single circumstance, you have to take into account everything that you have and assess the patient, understand where they're coming from and what their expectations are.
The Ortho ASAP Minute is sponsored by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Got me paying a rent, paying for trips, diamonds on her neck, diamonds on her wrist, and here I am all alone, all alone. I'm so cold, I'm so cold.
All right, Chris, it's bad.
I love the impromptu dancing for Kyle Wallace.
But
You just
everything
can't
has a
help
vibe.
it, right?
I can't. This is a vibe.
I guess if I could dance, I would dance.
You don't just feel in your body, just you on a bounce, 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 bounce to the beat.
I do like the white guy head bob.
Okay.
You know, that's about it, though. I guess if I had rhythm like you, though, I'd maybe let it loosen up the shoulders a little bit more.
You're flattering me. You definitely are flattering me. Just the way, same exact way that we need our head coach, Matt LaFleur, to flatter somebody to get them in as a defensive coordinator. As Brad and I are just discussing the timeline that Matt LaFleur has for hiring a new defensive coordinator. Is this taking too long? That's what we want to know. Brad, he feels like this is taking a little bit too long, and he isn't going to red alert quite yet, but he is concerned a little bit. I'm still giving Matt LaFleur a little bit of time because I do trust in Matt LaFleur. We want to know what you think. Cheesehead Bucky in Madison. You're on KBN. What are your thoughts?
Hey, guys. I think what's going on, and I think some other Packer people say this, I think because of the situation with Jim Leonard last time, I think they're keeping it a little bit more close to the chest this time so it doesn't get out if their first option does get away.
That's a good perspective. You know, we're having Rob Demovsky on, and I'm curious if that's the same thing. And I'm going to ask him that because I was thinking the same thing. Do the NFL teams have to publicize, one, who they're interviewing, and two, if they have a second interview? And can they like hire or interview secret candidates? And maybe they're further along than we think because I haven't seen any second interviews.
I feel like they don't need to publicize any of this. Only like public corporations and companies need to publicize. I mean, the Packers, I guess, are not publicly traded, but owned by the community. But my whole thing is this: I don't think they have to say this. I think these are all leaks. These are all leaks. Like the Packers aren't saying, "Oh, we brought in this person for an interview." This is all just people talking around the league, and there just has to be a way where it must just get out. Because you never hear teams talk about, yeah, we just brought in this person or we brought in that person. Because that puts you at a disadvantage.
They haven't in the past, but if you notice, like when they go after head coaches this cycle anyway, this coaching carousel, you've had teams come on and say, oh, we've interviewed Bill Belichick or we've interviewed Jim Harbaugh for a second interview or something like that. But the Packers don't do that as an organization and put their business out there like some of the other teams do.
Yeah, they definitely keep it closer to the vest. That's just the way that the Packers always do their business. What I'm curious is, Matt LaFleur, he's an offensive guy. He's played against these guys. The coaching circles, they're not big. Everybody knows one another. He knows who the good coaches are. He knows who the up-and-comers are, whether it be a defensive coordinator that you're trying to pull out of another organization, or whether it be an ascending assistant coach, or even a guy like Brandon Staley, who was a D coordinator, then a head coach. And I don't know why everyone's getting so mad at Brandon Staley. I don't think he'd be that bad of a choice, if I'm going to be quite honest.
Okay.
What's wrong with Brandon Staley?
I'm just going to say this, is that I don't have any issues with Brandon Staley. I just feel like from what I saw is he only had 1 year correct as a defensive coordinator with the LA Rams.
He had 1 year.
And they did a stellar job. But as a head coach, he didn't do a great job. And it's not so much what he did as a head coach. It's about the overall season that the Chargers had. He just doesn't seem like he's a great leader of men because that team didn't respond to him. And then also, two things. When my Packers were struggling offensively and as a football team, the Chargers defense was struggling even more. They we were able to beat them during our struggles. And then also, Brad, have you seen some of the scores they've allowed this year?
Yeah, there are some bad scores.
Yeah, 63 points against the Raiders, and I think it was 63 against the Raiders, 36 against the Dolphins.
Oh, wow.
I mean, 41 against the Lions.
Oh, wow.
They allowed a lot of points, but the Raiders, come on now, 63 points with the Raiders.
I mean, they got Devontae.
Yeah, Devontae. They got Devontae. Devontae probably wants to get out of there because they didn't know how to utilize Devontae. I just feel like Brandon Staley, he could end up being a great coach, but as a Packers fan, you don't want to go from Joe Barry and not trusting in Joe Barry, even when you hire Joe Barry, him being the second choice, to trusting in Brandon Staley, who has really a stale taste that he's left in everybody's mouth from how poorly the Chargers have played and their defense has underperformed. But you should not, I repeat, after allowing a team to score 63 points, you should not be a defensive coordinator immediately the next year. He's going to have to take a step back somewhere, maybe be a defensive analyst before he can get that job.
Well, he's proven he can do the job as a defensive coordinator. It's just a different role.
For 1 year.
It's a different role, though.
He had more time to work on the Chargers defense, and he failed at that than he did with the LA Rams defense.
Yeah, but there's more, you give more power to your defensive coordinators and your offensive coordinators. To an extent. I guess he is a defensive guy, so you should be able to get your side of the ball right. But I don't think you should be automatically disqualified because
the defense probably got better. The defense, because he got fired during the season, the defense might have actually gotten better once he got fired.
But that could be just human nature, right? Human nature, when there's so much tension in the room and that gets released, guys just relax and play better.
I don't really like you putting that loser on me here.
Either way. I think Matt LaFleur knows who the good defensive guys are. That's why I'm surprised. Not that it's taking this long, because if the Packers have a D coordinator by the end of the week, maybe Monday of next week, it's like, okay, that seemed like a fair amount of time. If it's next week, Wednesday, and there's still no D coordinator, I would start to be concerned because it's not like he wasn't prepared that this was going to happen. It's not like he was expecting that, his current D coordinator to be there, and then all of a sudden, surprise, Joe Barry's not there anymore. Like he got a head coaching job elsewhere. So he probably did some prep, or at least some brainstorming of who are the guys that are going to be the next ones up. You know who those are in those circles. He probably had a very short list right off the get-go. So I don't think it should take that long. You probably know what you want. You probably are getting those vibes, right, when you're kind of speed dating through these interviews. This guy works, this guy doesn't work. I'm not freaking out yet, but by this time next week, I'm for sure freaking out. I would expect something Monday or sooner.
Yeah, I'm going to give it time. 800-990-3776. Are you concerned with the pace that the Packers are moving with replacing Joe Barry at defensive coordinator? Do you feel the Packers may miss out on a potential great hiring at defensive coordinator because of the fact that they're taking so long? 800-990-3776. That is the ESPN Wisconsin Talk and Text line. You can stream and watch us live right now on YouTube. Go to YouTube and go to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and watch us live. And also, Brad and I in the chat having conversations in the KBN chat line on YouTube, but also you can watch us live on ESPN Madison on YouTube. Your calls, your texts, I think people coming from my neck as well. We'll talk about that all coming up next here on KBN.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman.
No, some of those things I say act like I think I'm something that I'm not.
I mean, you can say, listen, I'm finna do this show here from 5 to 6.
I'm finna do the shot.
The Homer Hour finna be lit from 5 to 6.
No, I'll never say that again.
It rolls though, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't. It's not me.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Hey, it's Kyle Walsh for Universal Windows Direct. If you've been cold in your own home, do not suffer through one more winter in a cold and drafty home. Call my guys at Universal Windows Direct. Schedule your free in-home estimate today, and for every 2 windows you buy, you get the next 2 free. Plus, a free upgrade to triple pane glass, and they'll double your energy tax credit. Tell them I told you to call and get an additional $250 off your project. Go to UniversalWindowsDirect.com, and you'll be saying, I love my windows.
ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Brust here because Forward Healthy Lifestyles has shown me that getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. We used to think getting older meant having less energy, less muscle, less endurance, less sex, and perhaps a bit more joint pain to weight around that waist. Not anymore. The experts at Forward Healthy Lifestyles help men optimize their hormone levels, including testosterone, providing cutting-edge regenerative medicine therapies, and even help men lose stubborn weight with programs like semaglutide. In 2024, change your life. Visit forwardhealthylifestyles.com for a free consultation.
Elevate your game day gear or any outfit with official merchandise from the Milwaukee Bucks Pro Shop. From authentic jerseys to exclusive apparel and accessories, the Bucks Pro Shop has everything you need to showcase your fandom wherever you go. Cheer the deer to victory with authentic Milwaukee Bucks items. Visit us at the Bucks Pro Shop at Fiserv Forum or Bayshore Mall, or shop online at shop.bucks.com.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here for my friends at Kohler Services. Well, you thinking about updating your bath or shower? Turn to Kohler Services for end-to-end bath and shower remodeling, where Kohler design consultants and installers do the work for you. Family-owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. Start enjoying your bath or shower right now with a special offer. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote. With fast, professional installation always included. That's Kohler ServicesWI.com.
Wisconsin is still cattle country, and that's why Bunzel's chose to stay close to home to hand select the finest beef. Quality goes into everything they do, from Bunzel's expansive array of meats, homemade specialty sausages, and their award-winning beef jerky. It just isn't a proper holiday meal without Bunzel's top quality cuts on the dinner table. Tasting is believing. Bunzels.com.
The Saganiac Planning Fantastic Finish. February 28, 1996. Marquette at Louisville. Double overtime. Marquette down 2 with 8.8 left. Marquette had to go the full length of the court. Chris Crawford inbounded to Aaron Hutchins. He was still 85 feet away. He dribbled 3 times to half court. Down to 5. 2 more dribbles, and Hutchins with a step-back 3 from the right wing with 3 seconds left. The little general nailed it. A Louisville desperation shot. No good. Oh, baby. A historic win. Marquette 80. Louisville 79 in double OT. Like you, Wisconsin is home for me. That's why I'm a big fan of Network Health, a health insurance company that's doing the right thing right here in Wisconsin. Network Health takes extra steps to make health insurance affordable and understandable so you can make the most of your coverage. And they always put in the extra effort. To learn more about Network Health's business, individual, or Medicare health plans, call Aaron Belowski, Saganiac Planning, 262-783-6161. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service.
One call, that's all. It's not just a slogan, but a way of life at Gruber Law Offices. If you've been injured, call our team today. We've represented tens of thousands of injured Wisconsinites for well over 30 years. Trust Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
So I guess I triggered some people.
Oh, boy.
Earlier today when we talked about the work ethic of America. And so I got some people here on the talk and text line that came from my neck here, Brad. So Matt from Racine, and this is going back to that, where we were talking about 4-day work weeks, right?
Yeah.
And I said that America, it would be a slippery slope. If we go to a 4-day work week, all America's going to want to do is go to a 3-day work week because we have too many people who I feel like, you give them an inch, they take a mile.
I would love to know what KBN Nation has to feel about your stance.
KBN Nation has come from my neck, and I guess you weren't as loud as I was when I said it.
No, I wasn't. Because I don't know. I kind of like the 4-day work week.
I would love a 4-day work week for me personally, but I understand culturally it just wouldn't work out.
But don't you think that if everybody feels that way, like if everyone is like, wow, a 4-day work week would be great, morale, the same optimism that you started the show with, it would be there. Higher work quality, more general job satisfaction.
So you remember this whole work from home thing because of the pandemic?
Sure do.
Okay. Do you know there's still office buildings across this country that are unfilled because employees don't want to go to work? And now you got college students graduating from college who are like, whoa. What do you mean go to the office? What do you mean I got to go to 5 days a week? What is this? Where do they do this at? That isn't great. But for real, like legitimately, people complain about having to go to work 5 days a week into the office. Like that's all my parents did growing up. They went to work every single day. Legitimately, that's what they did. I'm sure you saw the same thing.
It is crazy. And just talking to some people, once as you gave that freedom, I will say it's been really hard to claw it back in like the business people that I'm talking to. Because you talk to employees, and they think back at those 5-day in-office days.
That's ridiculous.
And it was a grind. I sometimes ask people, like, hey, if your job now mandated, because now it's like hybrid, right? Maybe 3 days in office, 2, whatever, and a lot of places. I said, hey, if you ever were mandated to go back to 5 days a week in the office, what would you do? They'd be like, I'd quit.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd quit. I'd look for something different.
2018, we ain't talking like that. So 800-990-3776, the ESPN Wisconsin talking text line. So Matt from Racine, he says, does Kyle just not have a life outside of work? Why would somebody be against having more full days out of work? Dumbest take today. America needs to learn more work to live instead of live to work and enjoy life. I mean, that's a great take.
That is a great take.
I love to party.
I know you do.
And have a good time outside of work.
I do feel like weekends are a bit short.
They are short.
I feel like you need 1 day of rest, 1 day of like having fun, partying, whatever you want to do, and then another day of getting stuff done.
Like Saturday for me is like errands day, and then Sunday is like getting ready for the next part of the week.
Right.
It's just like no time in between to like have any fun or do nothing or just kind of just sit there and veg out or whatever.
No time for fun. You need 1 full day of each.
Or maybe
of fun, get stuff done, and rest.
Maybe Friday half a day. Early release Fridays.
Okay.
Early release Friday, everybody get done at noon.
Yeah, we bump up our show a little bit earlier. Maybe we compete with Willie and Tausch.
I'm more than happy. Well, if I can get out early, I definitely would do that. And then David in the 920 said, Kyle complaining about people's work ethic makes me laugh. Would love to see him come work for my landscaping company for a week, and we will see what he thinks work ethic is, since talking into a microphone must be so stressful and exhausting. Let me tell you, I actually, as a as a high schooler, I tore my ACL my senior year, and that summer I worked at Hawthorne Glen uprooting invasive plants, and I did that in a knee brace. So I don't mind hard work, but I will say this: thank you for your hardworking folks, David, who do landscaping, because I prefer not to do landscaping. And I'm not saying they don't deserve to have days off. I'm just saying I'm sure David doesn't want his workers only working 4 days a week. You don't want them calling in for 3 days. That's less business coming in revenue for you, right?
I tell you what, that's true. That's probably true. But again, maybe you're so optimized over the course of 4 days that you get enough work in those 4 days, and you got a happier work staff. You got happier employees.
Yeah, I know
I'd be happier.
Sure, let's do it. Let's do it. And come 2050, people are sitting there picketing fences talking about 3-day work week, 3-day work week. I'm just trying to save America, baby. Hey.
Honestly, at that point in 2050, I just hope there's no like AI radio hosts that bump us out of these seats.
They could already deep fake our voices. 800-990-3776. Chef Ed in Milwaukee, man. You coming to back me up?
Oh, yeah, that's right, Kyle. And Brad, how you doing as well, my friend?
Doing great.
Good Wednesday. Yeah, work ethic. My dad always told me, if you can stand up, you wake up in the morning, you go to work. I mean, America's turned soft, and everybody's looking for like a free handout, the easy way out. I mean, the cell phones have taken over. When was the last time somebody had an actual business meeting? Everything is text this, text that. I mean, if you're able to work, you should work. I've been a hard worker for over 50 years, and I think America should work. And about the Packers draft thing,
yeah, DC.
I got the analogy. It's like a box, an assorted box of donuts. If you wait too long to get one, you end up with the plain donut.
I like that analogy.
See, you know what I like about Chef Ed, and thank you, Chef Ed, for joining us here.
What's wrong with the plain donut, though?
It's
still as good as any other donut.
No, it's not true.
Well, yeah,
you gotta have come
need
up with
to
glaze,
eat, right? You need to eat, so you're going to eat something. But you'd much rather have the chocolate Long John or.
I like glazed.
You like the glaze?
I like the good sugar sweet glaze. But what I love about what Chef Ed said, and James, we got you next, is, you know what? He says people need to work, and that's the thing I want the Packers defensive coordinator to do. I want them to wake up in the morning, put the pants on, and go to work and work hard for my Green Bay Packers. That's why I'm not concerned about Matt LaFleur. James in Connecticut, are you concerned about how long it's taking to find a defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers?
No, I'm not, and here's why. A basic rule in business and hiring is hire slow and fire fast. And what you guys talked about, and what you also talked about the Packers keeping things close to their chest, I'll also use the donut analogy, I guess. Now, I realize sometimes waiting too long, you're going to miss out on some good candidates, and I guess I'll use the example of potentially Denard Williams. He was one of the candidates that we've interviewed that I really liked.
Yep.
However, we maybe couldn't pull the trigger, or maybe we tried to, but he was waiting to see what happens with the Ravens defensive coordinator, who's now gone. So we've got all these chess pieces moving around, which is why I think, here's my question to you guys. Should we move too fast just to snag someone up when maybe the Carolina defensive coordinator eventually is able to interview for other DC jobs because they're protecting him? Do we wait and see that and maybe miss out on him if we hire too fast? Or do you think we are going to miss out on someone because we don't hire fast enough? Is the patience worth it? That's my question.
Ejiro Evero. I love that because that's the defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers, and that's the one that I think actually the Packers are probably waiting for right now to see how that all falls out, because he was in Denver 2 years ago with Nathaniel Hackett, did a great job. He was in Carolina last year, did a great job, and he interviewed before we hired Joe Barry, but he was not the guy we chose.
And, I think he is top candidate on not only the Packers list, multiple other teams. You talk about a guy that's the perfect balance of been there, done that. Like, he's actually been a defensive coordinator, and he's young. He brings the fire. He's a guy that you want leading your defense. Like, I love the idea of him as your DC.
And with experience and success, like Staley, Brandon Staley could have had success when he was with the Rams, but what have you done for me lately? You left a bad taste in my mouth, and I just, I feel like I would be okay. If Brandon Staley went on to be a great defensive coordinator, I wouldn't be like, boy, oh boy, we missed out on that, because I would remember back to, I'm glad he was able to rebound, but I don't need somebody to rebound and go for a testing ground for the Green Bay Packers. I want somebody either proven or somebody that comes from an established system that is coming from success. I don't want somebody coming from a loser mentality right now to come coach my Green Bay Packers defense.
Yeah, and that's why those Baltimore Ravens assistant coaches were sure spicy to be able to bring on as Packer D coordinators, because they've seen it. Like, they see exactly what it takes to build a top defense. So in my mind, Matt LaFleur, it's less about rankings, like who's number one, who's number two, and it's more about tiers. I think there is a tier of his top candidates that, like, if I could get one of these guys, maybe there's 4 guys. I don't know how many it is, but if I can interview, let's say 10 guys, but I know 3 or 4 of them are tier 1. If I can just get one of those 3 or 4, then we're cooking. But I don't want to get into tier 2 where I'm left with my 5th.
That's what
6th,
happened last
7th.
time. Joe Barry was not. It was tier 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, you had to invent a tier for Joe Barry. But now, there are still guys in the tier 1. So we're not to the point yet where I'm freaking out. But you can't wait much longer, because those donuts are going to go.
Those donuts are going to go. And here's the thing, like, we want to talk about Packers DC. We want to talk about Matt LaFleur. But KBN Nation, you know what they want to talk about?
What's that?
They want to talk about this dang 4-day work week. Jeremy and Madison, 4-day work week all day? Let me hear you.
4-day work week all day, every day. Listen, I know that there's a problem with, like you said, that landscaping crew, that works 5 days a week, but all you do if you're the boss or the owner is you stagger your crew. Some guys work Monday through Thursday. Some guys work Sunday through Thursday, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's possible to do, and you get more work out of people because they get that, they get 3-day weekend every week. Every weekend, I get that 3-day weekend.
Would you rather take? Would you rather take a like 4 10-hour days over the? So you're working the same amount of hours?
Totally, absolutely. That's the whole point. You're still getting the same paycheck, and you're still putting in the same amount of productivity, but you get more life.
So what about people like me?
Life.
What about me? I work 10 hours a day. I work more than 10 hours a day sometimes. Ain't nobody crying for me. Like, do I get overtime? Like, what happens? What happens for me? What about me, man?
You make your bed, she's sleeping in, man.
You ain't never lie. You sound like my girl.
Oh, wow. Oh, I mean,
thanks, Jeremy.
I get it. I mean, that 4-day work week.
It sounds real nice.
He does.
It does.
I feel like the people that are for the 4-day work week, they've thought about this. They've got all the evidence. They pulled and I'm kind of leaning closer that way anyway, if I'm to be honest. But there are, they'll be the first ones to pull out the studies out of Denmark.
Oh, yeah,
that are like, oh, yeah, but you see productivity increased and morale increased. And I think those could be true. I think this nation would struggle with it because you got people like Kyle Wallace who want you chained to your desk.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Day,
now I put people in chains and shackles.
No lunch breaks. And then you got guys who are like a lot of KBN Nation where it's like, what's wrong with 4 days a week? I could use a 3-day weekend. That sounds pretty nice.
I could use a 3-day weekend as well, Brad. I mean, I'm not saying that I wouldn't benefit from it. I'm just saying I'm very concerned about it. And clearly KBN Nation is not as concerned about it. Pat and Madison, he said weekends. What the hell is a weekend? Small business owner, service industry. They don't get weekends.
That's true. They don't. And they already have a hard time hiring. So those people are working quite a bit.
Man, oh, man. So many people just responding to all this. Also, shout out to Pat. He said he agreed with that, Kyle. That's on me. So he said, oh, well, I guess he said that's on me. Maybe I have poor work-life balance.
Yeah, I think it's because you need that extra weekend day. Your weekends are so figured out with just Kyle resting, right? Trying to get. I know you, man. Kyle, you like to just take the weekends and just chill.
Intervention now. This is what this is becoming.
That's exactly what it is.
This is what it is.
You're not getting enough of that taste. The taste of just like what it's like to just have that. I can't imagine. You're already optimistic. Imagine how optimistic you'd be on a Wednesday that you knew that tomorrow's your last day.
I'm not gonna lie to you though. When we had, around the holiday season, when you have Christmas, you have New Year's, when you have 4-day work weeks, boy, oh boy, getting back to a 5-day grind, that's always tough. After the holidays, I'm like, dang, we got to do a full 5-day week.
That is so true.
Not going to lie. 800-990-3776. How much we enjoy talking about 4-day work weeks. You can definitely keep chiming in on YouTube. That's ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube or ESPN Madison on YouTube. We also want to talk about this defensive coordinator position that the Packers have not filled yet. Are you concerned that the Packers have not filled it yet? And also, do you trust Matt LaFleur? But I know that Brad trusts somebody.
I always trust Gina Della from Pella and Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, whether it be replacing your windows, replacing your doors, particularly this time of year. You see how beneficial it is, not only for beauty, and they are beautiful, they transform a room, but also energy efficiency. It's cold outside. You got like rain and snow on and off. You want to keep that nasty weather outside your walls where it belongs, not inside. And meanwhile, lowering your energy bill in the process. And they're helping you do that because their installation, super easy, as little as a day. And they are giving you an opportunity now that's just unbelievable. It's a short-lived opportunity if you haven't taken advantage of it by now. It ends today. This is why you need to call Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin or go to their website to take advantage of their offer of 0% interest for up to 36 months. That's right, 3 years of 0% interest. You can't get that anywhere else, but you can get it with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. 0% interest up to 36 months. But again, you have to book by January 31st. So act now. Visit PellaWI.com.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman.
Listen, Diana, that's her name. Listen, we all about positive manifestation. I like you, Diana. All it is negative. Diana. Criticize.
Dirty Diana.
I love you, Kyle.
Love you too, girl.
I love you, Kyle.
I love you too. That's what I'm talking about. The real Packer Nation.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. Whether it's live or in podcast form, you've heard us on air with all of our shenanigans.
Gabe, I'm throwing some
Why are you? I don't want.
Now see your favorite 94.5 ESPN shows streaming on video.
Made by me, by the way. I hit that microphone like 4 out of 6 times on that.
Subscribe to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and get notified when we hit the air live. Plus, you can watch back any second that you miss and see original digital content too. Watch, listen, interact. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Woo! I am thirsty today. Definitely going to need a cold one. There's the one.
It's almost Mardi Gras season, so Ben's grabbing New Orleans' own Abita Brewing this week. Here's Leo from Abita, giving the inside look at what separates Abita from the rest.
It's really simple. It's the water. It's the number one ingredient in all beers, and our water is pristine for brewing. It comes from a southern aquifer that is over 5,000 years old. All we do is filter it out for sand. We don't treat it. We don't do anything with it. So when you're enjoying your Abita beer, what you'll taste is the water being softer. It's a different taste on your tongue or your mouthfeel, and that's really the big thing that separates us from all. We source all our ingredients locally in Louisiana or from around the country. We don't use any adjuncts with it, so it's just great beer.
Find all of Abita's beers at your local retailer today, and as Ben always says, keep that fridge stocked.
Hey, it's Kyle Wallace for the Bath Authority. If your bath or shower is old, outdated, has mold and mildew, or broken tiles, you gotta call my friends at the Bath Authority. The Bath Authority provides the highest quality bathroom remodeling products along with a world-class customer experience. Elevate your bathroom to a new level of luxury, style, and safety. Schedule your free in-home estimate today and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. TheBathAuthority.com. A better bath awaits.
Hey, this is Jason Wilde from Wilde & Tausch. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Racine Danish Kringles has you covered with their heart-shaped Kringle. My family loves Kringle from Racine Danish Kringles, and sometimes they share it with me. Racine Danish Kringles offers a heart-shaped Kringle with pink icing in raspberry, chocolate silk cherry, and pecan flavors to send to your loved one. Order at Kringle.com or call 800-4DANISH. Racine Danish Kringles, the official pastry of ESPN Wisconsin. It's not just a treat, it's a tradition.
QC Kinetics patient Robert Patterson, a veteran and business owner, struggled at work and in the gym with chronic agonizing shoulder pain.
Those injuries just continue to nag, and if you don't treat them, they just get worse. And I just kind of abused my body for a long time, and it finally had said enough is enough.
That's okay, because QC Kinetics tells your pain, hey, enough is enough. Their regenerative treatments bring you relief by helping restore and repair damaged tissue with no drugs, no downtime, and best of all, no surgery.
I was able to exceed the goals that I had previously attained in the gym. It was absolutely worth its weight in gold, so I could continue to live life without limitation.
Ready to get lasting relief from your joint pain? Call QC Kinetics to learn more about how natural biologic treatments can get you lasting results. Call now. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Ready to conquer the Midwest's premier winter playground? Then start planning a visit to Granite Peak. With over 200 acres of skiable terrain, Granite Peak has something for everyone, from beginners to seasoned pros, park skiers to mogul fanatics, and everything in between. Soar to new heights on their state-of-the-art chairlifts and warm up in the cozy historic chalet with roaring fireplaces and stunning views. A legendary winter adventure begins at Granite Peak. Don't miss out. Visit skigranitepeak.com to book your winter vacation now, and for more information, Granite Peak. Legendary winters, legendary fun.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
One kiss is all it takes. Falling in love with me. Possibilities. I look like all you need. One kiss is all it takes. Falling in love with me. Possibilities. I look like all
It is KBN here on ESPN Wisconsin. I'm Kyle Walls. He's Brad Nortman. Baby Bruss has arrived, so no Ben Bruss this week as he is taking care of his child and doing baby duties. And, we were trying to talk Packers defensive coordinator, and we were trying to talk how you feel about it, and somehow we stumbled upon 4-day work weeks and donuts.
I'm getting hungry and looking for rest just thinking about it.
Yeah, so Chef Ed called and he said something along the lines of, if you don't find a defensive coordinator soon, you get left with the last donut in the box, and the last donut in the box is always the plain donut. And who wants the plain donut just like who wants a plain defensive coordinator?
I mean, I think I'm an analogy guy, and I applaud. I applaud this analogy. You're talking about football, food, and analogies. It can't get any better than that.
It cannot get any better than that. And so that's why Brad and I decided to try to think fast on our feet. And we want you to, KBN Nation, 800-990-3776. What donut are the different people we're going to list? We want to know what you think some of these donuts are. And so what kind of donut would Joe Barry be?
Okay, Joe Barry, he's got to be a donut that has a hole in the middle, right? Because there's too many holes throughout the defense, right? And to me, I just think he's like a very plain glazed donut where it's like, you know what? He's got the hole in the middle. You know you're not going to get your full effect because of that, because there's just there's so much emptiness, right? But you know what? When it counts, you're not going to walk away thinking, you know what, this donut was one of the best donuts I ever had. This is an elite donut. You're just going to walk away thinking, I guess that my hunger is quenched, I guess, when it needed to be, which is what Joe Barry did. When big stops needed to occur or in the playoff game, he actually did okay, but it's nothing to write home about. You're immediately looking at other donuts. It's not going to satisfy. You're not as hungry, but you're not satisfied.
You know what type of donut he is?
What's that?
There's I think it's called a crawler. A crawler, the little weird spinny ones that people dip in coffee maybe too. He's a donut that's nasty and plain. So he's a dirty crawler donut. That's the donut that I think he is because of the fact that, yeah, you said he has holes in it. I just think he has no flavor, he has no personality, and who actually really wants that donut?
That's a good question. Another one that came to mind, Adrian Griffin, right? The Bucs head coach. He's a powdered sugar donut to me. Honestly, you look at it and you're like, this looks so unique. This is going to be great. How could this not go wrong? But you take a couple bites and you're completely unsatisfied. All of a sudden, you've got the powdered sugar all over your mouth, all over your fingers, and you're like, why did I even do this? And I honestly don't finish the powdered sugar donut. I eat it half eaten. I'm good. I'm just going to go ahead and leave that there.
So you know the donuts that are have twisted and have twirls in them, so it's kind of like two donuts trying to swirl together.
Yeah.
And then they're usually not soft. They're kind of hard. They're not a churro. They're just a little bit more crusty of a donut.
Yeah.
That's what Adrian Griffin is. Adrian Griffin and his defensive scheme and his plan was all twisted, not understandable. It was hard to understand, and that's why Adrian Griffin will be a twisted donut that nobody wants to eat, nobody wants to taste. It's too confusing. Even Giannis had to get rid of it.
Oh, wow. We have Ashton Rotman, executive producer, bringing in donuts for us right now. This is a glazed donut. This is my Joe Barry donut.
So, you call Joe Barry a glaze?
Yeah, it's like average, always average.
This is one of the better donuts. And as we kind of progress down our list of talking about donuts, Doc Rivers. What type of donut is Doc Rivers?
Doc Rivers. I feel like this donut does smell amazing, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, wait till
maybe
you
I
bite
want
in
to
that
keep Joe
mug.
Barry around for a minute. Joe Barry or Doc Rivers. He's the kind of donut that I feel like he gets a lot just based on reputation, right? Where it's they've been around forever. It's well known. He's something like a Long John. It's recognizable. Everybody knows a Long John when they see it, and you take a bite, and it's always really solid. It's always there, but you're never gonna be. It's never gonna be an elite type donut, right? It's consistent. It'll get the job done. Everybody, you say, hey, can I get a Long John? Everybody knows what a Long John is, but it'll never be an elite donut. Maybe he can change that.
See, I think he's a glaze. I love glazed donuts. You said it key. He's the donut that is consistent. You know what you're going to get. Who doesn't like a naturally nice glazed donut? You know it's going to be sweet. You know it's going to taste delicious. And you know it's going to be good. That's exactly what Doc Rivers is going to be. It may not be the best donut, but you know it's going to be a darn good donut. And that's what Doc Rivers is with the donuts.
That's actually pretty good. But one other thing I thought of with my Long John with Doc Rivers. One of the best things about Doc Rivers is his name. The name of name recognition, but also the name Doc Rivers. There's something about the name. It helps carry him to whatever the next thing is. Same thing with a Long John. The best thing about Long Johns is the name Long John.
And lastly, I got to ask you, what type of donut is Jordan Love?
Jordan Love.
It starts with love.
Jordan Love. This is a good one. I want to make sure I don't get it wrong because Jordan Love deserves a very, very good donut.
Oh, I know what donut he is.
Okay, I'm going to give you I know what kind of donut he is.
He's a cider donut, an apple cider donut. You know why he's so good? It's because during the season, the NFL season, he proved to us how delicious he is, and we all are salivating and cannot wait until we get to taste that donut again come next season as well, because cider donuts are always good during season. Everybody wants to get a cider donut during the fall time, just like you want to get Jordan Love during the fall as well.
You know what? I figured out my comparison for Jordan Love. I love yours, Kyle. You know the donuts that they're normal looking, but on the inside, you've jammed more frosting in on it, and you get the chocolate on the top and a little bit of the frosting on top. That's what Jordan Love is for me. From the outside looking in, you can see how it would be good, but once as you taste it, once you go deeper, you figure out there's so much more there. With each additional bite, you're more and more satisfied. That's what Jordan Love is for me.
We also have, here in the Market Hall, we have a nice donut spot here, and Brad said, wow, Brad didn't waste no time. Brad said he's never had a baked potato donut. I never had a baked potato donut.
Is that what this is?
That's what it's a baked potato donut. Don't ask me all the ingredients. I just know somehow it uses baked potato. And let me tell you, Brad, how delicious was your first bite into that donut?
This is really good. I honestly, when I heard baked potato donut, I was thinking about something that was maybe healthier or not as sweet, not as tasty. This is really good. I take back what I said about Joe Barry being a glazed donut.
He's maybe not glazed, baby.
A glazed donut. Well, a glazed baked potato donut might be better than I gave it credit for. This is really good.
It's delicious.
Thank you, Ashton. This is unbelievable.
It is delicious, just like KBN, and listening to us is delicious with no Ben here. If you want more of that, you're going to have to keep it locked. You're listening to ESPN Wisconsin. You're listening to KBN. Definitely, if you want to chime in on the conversation, 800-990-3776. Or you can also follow us and watch us on YouTube as well. We'll have more conversation next.
Hey, it's Gabe Neitzel from Jen, Gabe, and Chew. You've heard me talk about the results mentality has had on my life, but don't just take it from me. Jason has had success too, thanks to mentality.
My only regret is I didn't do it sooner. Knowing once again I've gotten the treatments done and continuing, I do feel, stuff does hurt a little bit more, but I'm 40, in my 40s, and that's going to happen. But again, the energy levels, it is above and beyond. Again, I'm back in that age where I'm like, this is amazing.
Get started today at lowtusa.com.
It's time for the Marquette Minute on 94.5 ESPN. Join Shaka Smart, Jen Latta, and special guest Chase Ross Thursday, February 1st from 6 to 7 p.m. for Marquette Thursdays at Motor Bar and Restaurant on the Harley-Davidson Museum campus.
Playing without Cam Jones due to an ankle injury, the 9th-ranked Golden Eagles blew a 20-point first-half lead but were able to hold off Villanova for an 85-80 road victory. Head coach Shaka Smart proud of how his team played down the stretch after the Wildcats came back to take the lead.
The only thing about being up 25 minutes into the game is you still have to play 35 minutes. And at times we kind of lost sight of that. Villanova took the aggressiveness advantage, but we took it back. And that was a phenomenal job by our guys in the last 12 minutes of the game.
Senior point guard Tyler Kolek finished with a career-high 32 points in the win. Marquette improves to 16-5 overall and 7-3 in Big East play. They're at Georgetown Saturday afternoon.
This has been the Marquette Minute on 94.5 ESPN. Motor Bar and Restaurant on the Harley-Davidson Museum campus is the home of Marquette Thursdays all season long.
Wisconsin is still cattle country, and that's why Bunzel's chose to stay close to home to hand select the finest beef. Quality goes into everything they do, from Bunzel's expansive array of meats, homemade specialty sausages, and their award-winning beef jerky. It just isn't a proper holiday meal without Bunzel's top quality cuts on the dinner table. Tasting is believing. Bunzels.com.
Marquette Hall of Famer Tony Smith here. You're listening to the home of Marquette basketball. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. Broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Wow, that donut was delicious, wasn't it, Brad?
I'm satisfied. That was so good.
That is the donut we need for defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. We need a donut that's going to be satisfying, that's going to come through, that's going to be consistent, and that's what that donut is, and that's what I hope Matt LaFleur can find. And we're going to talk about whether or not you trust Matt LaFleur to be able to find that type of donut and that type of success. But 800-990-3776. This is KBN. And on the talking text line, a lot of people had some jokes for Joe Barry on what type of donut he is.
Oh.
Don said Joe was a day-old donut from day one. Patience will yield greatness. We need a rough and gruff type of guy. And then Big Daddy Bobo said, dried out manure-infused gas station donut is Joe Barry.
Oh, that was crushing right there.
And then lastly, somebody said, to emphasize communication, we need an elephant ear donut for a defensive coordinator.
Oh, interesting. Elephant ear donut.
Isn't that the big one?
That is the big one. Kind of like a hard glaze over the top of it. There's a lot of range.
Usually served like at the fair and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Elephant ears.
You know what? When if I were to say what my favorite donut is, I'm not really sure I'd call it a donut. Is a cinnamon bun a donut? Is that a type of donut? No, that's a different.
What would that
that's
be?
outside.
Yeah, it's like a pastry type thing.
But wait a minute. But there are. Think about it though. It's like the pastry with cinnamon swirl with vanilla icing. There are donuts that are legitimately like that, right?
You're asking the wrong. I am not a baker. I am not a cook. I literally cook food in the air fryer. So that is the extent of what I cook.
I put it more of in the cake family.
It's a
the
cake
donut family.
Or breakfast pastry. But breakfast pastry is more of like umbrella term. Yeah. Donuts falling underneath pastry.
Yes.
I just feel like it was always a hybrid because I love cinnamon rolls. Something you'll learn about me. I love me some cinnamon rolls.
That's good to know.
And I was wondering, is that a form of a donut? Ashton Rotman coming in here
and who is
in a blaze of glory.
Is Ashton considered? I don't know if you know about Ashton, but Ashton has his own food truck.
Yeah, Ashton he's the expert chef.
So he is a chef. He's considered a chef because I don't know if just because you cook food and you have a food truck, I don't know if that makes you a chef or not.
Okay, first of all, hurtful. Fair, but hurtful. I mean, jeez. All right, I'm right here, Kyle. Second of all, a cinnamon roll is a pastry. Oh. You're all wrong. It's not cake. It's not a donut. Cinnamon roll is a pastry.
What makes it a pastry?
And what's the difference between a pastry and a donut? Is a donut a type of pastry?
Correct. A donut is a pastry.
So is it in the
wait a minute. So wait a minute.
A donut is a pastry.
So a donut is a pastry. So pastry is like the top.
Yeah, it's the top. A cake is a baked good.
Oh man.
Wait, a baked good.
Yeah. Because pastries you don't always have to bake. Think of it. Donuts, not all donuts are baked. Most donuts actually are in a fryer. They're fried.
Oh, that is true.
Oh, my mind is being blown right now. There's the education on this. Yeah. But wait a minute. So is it more in the eye of the beholder? Because
it's the eye of me.
Correct me if I'm wrong. A cinnamon roll. If I didn't say, let me describe something to you, I didn't say a cinnamon roll. If I said I don't even know how I'd describe it.
A dough?
A baked dough with cinnamon and vanilla frosting. That could be a donut, right? Maybe?
Sort of. Not really.
It technically could be. I don't know.
Do you consider now here's a great question. Do you consider an apple fritter a donut?
Fritters are disgusting.
What do you mean they're disgusting?
They're too hard and crunchy.
Why do we let Kyle talk about food?
What a waste. What a waste. A fritter is absolutely the texture is too hard. You need something
crunch is nice.
Yeah, you're just having the wrong types of fritter.
Who wants to fight and crunch through a donut? I want something that's nice and soft.
It's an exterior you get to the soft.
No, who wants to do that in life? Nobody wants a rough exterior person just to get to the soft side of somebody. Who wants to do all that work?
No, I think that's when it's cooked to perfection. A firm outside and a soft inside. Think of a cookie that you bite into that. Like that.
You're going to cut the roof of your mouth.
Rodgers used to be like a fritter. He was soft on the inside. Now he's just bad. It's just gone. He's not even a donut. Bad. He's no fun.
He's a stale donut.
I like stale donuts.
Goodness gracious.
One more before I let you go. Yeah. What about a churro? What's a churro? Because
a pastry. Those are delicious.
I mean, because it's not round. I guess that's a long shot for a donut. But it's very donut. These are very donut-esque.
I don't know any of this. I barely even eat donuts. Too much sugar.
But they are.
Thank you for letting us know.
Brilliance from Ashton Rotman.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Ashton. Just like we appreciate you, KBN Nation, and just like I want to find out Brad's perspective, because I do appreciate your perspective. And we talked about how you are a little bit concerned on how long it is taking the Green Bay Packers to find a new defensive coordinator. Now, does that length come from the fact that you just feel like the timing is taking too long? Or does it actually stem from you may have mistrust in Matt LaFleur now having a second opportunity to get a DC? And granted, he didn't have to keep Mike Pedden as his defensive coordinator. He inherited Mike Pedden. He could have moved on from him, but after talking to Mike Pedden and after talking to Mark Murphy and Goody, he made a decision to keep him. So I will say this is going to be the third defensive coordinator that he gets to make a decision on who's going to be on his staff. Have you lost trust in Matt LaFleur based off his last two picks?
Well, I haven't lost trust in Matt LaFleur, but he hasn't given me a reason to trust him in this process. Because if I'm going to go just purely on his hiring history, And you can't deny his ability as an offensive coordinator and ability to connect with players. He defends his players. There's a lot to like about Matt LaFleur as a head coach. But specifically, an important part of the head coach, hiring out your staff. If we look at his defensive coordinator selections, even his special teams coordinator selections, they haven't been home runs. They've been mostly swings and misses. Rich Bisaccia has been all right so far, but coordinators has not worked out how we all thought and hoped it might be. So with this is the one of them where I feel like my trust needs to be earned. I don't necessarily distrust him where it's like he's going to mess it up. I don't believe that. But he hasn't proven that he can consistently go through a hiring process, find the right guy for this team. I think it's one of the reasons why he's taking his time. I think he knows this is a critical hiring, that he's got a young, talented team that's on the precipice of being a Super Bowl contender. If he gets this right, he can set this team up for being a legitimate Super Bowl winner over the next several years. This is one of the big missing pieces is a consistent defense. I think he also knows if he messes it up, I don't think it'd be a death sentence for him as the Packer head coach, figuratively speaking, but it would be something that you'd start to really question his ability in hiring as a head coach. So I think that's why he's taking so long, because he knows I have to get this right. I can't mess it up this time around. So I actually give him credit for making sure he gets it right, but I think it's steeped in the idea that I need to earn back the trust of Brad Nortman, KBN Nation, and Packer fans everywhere to make sure I get it right.
What do you mean earn back the trust? And I understand that he did not get it right for the defensive coordinator position the last two times by retaining Mike Pettin and even firing Mike Pettin and then hiring Joe Barry was a complete disaster. But what Matt LaFleur showed us this year is that he is not somebody that needs to have some elite top quarterback in order for his team to be good. The way that he developed this team, the way that he took this team from 2-5 to being 9-8, the way that he got them prepared to go into Dallas and smack that bootay, the way he did that, he got all my trust and my belief in him. And I understand we haven't had the best of luck with him and defensive coordinators, but guess what, Brad? The Green Bay Packers haven't had the best of luck with defensive coordinators. We are not known as a defensive-minded football team or organization over the time where we had Brett Favre, we had Aaron Rodgers, and now with Jordan Love, all three have had to deal with an inconsistent defense and a special teams that definitely was inconsistent as well. And so I'm going to put my trust in the young man, Matt LaFleur, who basically took this team and had them improve during the season. I think he has done absolutely nothing but earned our trust and earned the right to have another opportunity to learn from his past mistakes and do his due diligence and find a way to click. And who knows the difference of having Aaron Rodgers on your team and when you're picking a D coordinator versus having a very young roster where you can probably, be a little bit more open-minded with who you go with. They're looking at a lot of young candidates, and maybe they're thinking we have a young roster, the youngest roster in the NFL to make the playoffs this year, the youngest roster in the NFL this season as well. Maybe they're thinking, let's get somebody young who's going to grow with this team as well. They're going to grow as a coach, and they're going to turn into the next hot coaching candidate. And my hope is this, is 4 years from now, we're losing our defensive coordinator because somebody else wants him, and that means our team has been exceptional.
Yeah, boy, I hope that too. And I do think Matt LaFleur has learned from his mistakes. That's why he's taking his time, and I think he knows now more than ever what he's looking for and what this team needs. I don't say that I don't trust him as a head coach. I don't trust him as a schemer. I don't trust him as someone to lead the Packers, specifically in hiring, though, which is a pretty big part of being an NFL head coach. He just hasn't shown consistently that he can bring the guys in that this team needs. And you've seen that on special teams. You've seen that on defense. So I trust him as a head coach. I trust him as an offensive schemer, developing Jordan Love, just specifically with hiring. I'm not sure I can trust his decision-making just yet. I want to be able to trust him. I want to see him hit a home run. But his history with the Packers would show that he hasn't been able to do that yet. And he's only had a couple opportunities, and I think he's going to be with the Packers for a long time. So this will be the first of many. But this is a big, big decision, which is why I think he knows, given his past hiring and what he knows this team is set up for, this is a big, big deal for his legacy and this team.
Do you fault him for retaining Mike Pettin and not making the decision to move on from Mike Pettin? Because for me, it seems like maybe he was never 100% sold on Mike Pettin. He was just like, you know what? This is my first opportunity to be a head coach. I'm happy the fact that I got this chance and I'm going to trust the organization. If they say Mike Pettin should stay around, I'll keep him around. Do you question the fact that he retained him instead of going with his own guy from the jump?
I don't. Mike Pettin wasn't doing too bad at that point, to be quite honest. I think he had earned an opportunity to try to display why he should be the defensive coordinator. We also don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know if Matt LaFleur had a couple of guys that he wanted and they just didn't follow him to Green Bay. So it might have been his best opportunity depending on what the other candidates were. So I don't fault him for that. I give him credit for actually letting a guy keep his job after he's been doing okay. A lot of times coaches come in and they have the demeanor, the ego of being like, clear house.
Yeah.
I want my own dudes.
Yeah.
That's not Matt LaFleur. And I actually like that as a head coach. The fact that, you know what, I don't know everything. You've been here. You've proven that you're doing all right. I'm going to give you a shot. So it shows to me that he's not a power-hungry egomaniac like a lot of head coaches are. That's a great thing for his personality.
Some people would say they wish Luke Fickell did the same thing and retained Jim Leonard. I know I'm one of those some.
Yeah, I wish that too. I love me some Jim Leonard.
But you know what else I love too, Brad? I love me some Here Brad out here. And you know what? Usually when Ben's here, he distracts you. He steps on your toes. I'm going to sit here as silent as possible, just as long as it's not a crazy, outlandish Here Brad out. I'll sit here silently and quietly and really hear you out. We got Here Brad out coming up next on KBN.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN.
See you again.
Oh, you need some.
And then I said, I appreciate it. The same goes for you. Let me know everything I can do for you. Obviously, what am I going to do for Russell Wilson? You're the man.
Babysit his kids.
BFF.
Fake relationship of all time.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
It's a pretty good ride shaping up right now. Southbound on 43, though. We're seeing backups from Silver Spring all the way down past Capitol Drive. We've got east and westbound 94, a little bit slow right past the stadium interchange, and an accident on 894 southbound south of Beloit Road off on the right shoulder. And check the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight. Partly cloudy skies with a low of 36. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a high of 42. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Football guy.
Good morning, Tausch. How are you?
Football guy.
Old T's a little. I'm not feeling 100%.
Coming at it from different views.
No, just I think with all that little stuff that's going around and the long trip back from the loo, I'm gonna grind.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by Coors Light. Weekdays 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Hey, it's Kyle Wallace for the Bath Authority. If your bath or shower is old, outdated, has mold and mildew, or broken tiles, you gotta call my friends at the Bath Authority. The Bath Authority provides the highest quality bathroom remodeling products along with a world-class customer experience. Elevate your bathroom to a new level of luxury, style, and safety. Schedule your free in-home estimate today and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath plus 36 months of interest-free financing. TheBathAuthority.com. A better bath awaits.
Brewers win!
Get more from your live baseball experience with the 2024 Brewers Ticket Plan. On sale now. Don't miss more exclusive Brewers season seat holder rewards, like your very own batting practice session, more can't-miss action, and more access to the game you love. It's your ticket to being a VIP Brewers fan this season. Plus, you'll enjoy savings on ticket prices you can't get anywhere else. Learn more at brewers.com/ticket plans.
Go beyond your field of study and get a world-class education in leadership by joining the U.S. Army ROTC. Army ROTC programs transform students into confident leaders and provide a wide range of scholarships to help pursue life-defining careers. As an Army officer, you'll work side by side with peers who support your growth. Gain the experience and get the resources to open doors down the road. Army ROTC is open for enrollment. Visit goarmy.com/ROTC to learn more about available opportunities and scholarships, including at Marquette University.
I had a
a really strange experience today.
Strange how?
A man walked into the store who was only about 2.5 feet tall.
What?
And he was carrying a bow and arrows.
Did he sort of have a baby face?
Yes. How did you know?
Sarah, that was Cupid.
Oh.
Did he give us a thumbs up?
Yes, 3 times.
So tell us, what are the Cupid-approved gifts for Valentine's 2024?
He loved our diamond stud earrings starting at $198.
We have 186 different styles and sizes.
And we have more than 1,400 pair in stock.
And Cupid loved our $98 diamond pendant.
It looks like it's worth a lot more.
And every purchase of $298 or more includes a fabulous free travel case to safely transport all of your jewelry.
But mostly, he loved the 4-carat total weight wow diamond engagement ring for less than $4,000.
Welcome to Kessler's for Valentine's Day.
Cupid approved.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Going to be a really good Hear Brad Out today.
I'm pretty proud of it.
I mean, you say that every week, though.
I'm always proud of my work.
I mean, I feel
it's
like
you guys that are the problem.
No, okay, yeah, that's deflecting from what the real problem and issue is. I feel like you're going to be the very encouraging father. Like, hey, you can do good job, regardless of how terrible it is. You're going to say good job.
I am a words of affirmation guy, and I tend to then give those out pretty freely.
Oh, so you like words of affirmation?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Brad, I love the fact that I get to work with you every single day.
Thanks, Kyle. Me too.
You're a great person.
I agree.
Yeah.
I love when you are when we are on the show together. You brighten my day.
Oh,
life is better with you in my days. Kyle.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Not for me. If my kid sucks at something, I'm like, listen, I ain't gonna be coming.
Hey, be careful on him now. I'm not gonna be
listen, I'm not gonna be sitting here while you sitting on the bench all the time, right? If I sat on the bench all 4 years, that's why college football didn't work. It didn't work. I wasn't gonna sit on the bench for 4 years. Absolutely not. I knew when I wasn't good enough. Had to get out of there.
Well, I just hope that then your future wife and future mama of your babies, she provides the affirmation because the babies are gonna need it.
Let me stop now. I got dragged for saying stuff about 4-day work weeks and talking about America. I don't want to get dragged for being a bad parent. Let me just hear Brad out.
They say punters are people too.
Punters are worthy of breaking news.
No, really, that's what they say.
Raising awareness everywhere that punters are people too.
Okay, let's go to it. Time to hear from the punter. Time to hear Brad out.
There's a pillar of the NFL. It used to be a pillar, at least. That's got to get changed. And you know what that is, Kyle?
What is that, Brad?
That is the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl must be eliminated. Let me tell you why. Let me give you a little history on the Pro Bowl, on why it needs to be eliminated at this point. No Pro Bowl anymore. It started in 1951. Think about that. It started in 1951, and it was supposed to be an all-star game, of course, between the NFC and the AFC. And it was supposed to determine who was the best conference and who had bragging rights on any given side. What a great idea, right? Football is so popular, it's so beloved. Let's take the best players and put them up against each other. We're going to have the best game possible. Right? Wrong. It lasted like that for quite a while, and it was entertaining. It never surpassed the Super Bowl, of course. But do you see the old highlights of Pro Bowls? Those dudes were actually hitting. They were actually playing. I remember watching the Pro Bowl and thinking how fun it is. The fact that you've got guys out there, superstars playing together, and they actually give a dang about the game and trying to win. It doesn't happen anymore, though. Now it's a joke. Guys don't even play hard. They didn't. That's why they had to change this whole thing, which I understand. I mean, you don't want injuries and things like that, so I actually understand that. But now it's more of like a circus sideshow than it is anything else, right? Nobody really wants to watch it. It's kind of embarrassing for the NFL, I'm going to be quite honest. Everybody, all the old heads complain, oh, the NFL is too soft. And they also point to this. It's like we got grown men playing dodgeball. We got professional athletes playing dodgeball out there. The games themselves are a sideshow. It's embarrassing. The NFL needs to ask itself, does this meet the NFL standard for viewership, for your product? My answer to that is a resounding no. And it takes place between the two biggest weekends of the NFL calendar, Championship Sunday and Super Bowl Sunday. To put the Pro Bowl between the two of them, it's kind of a joke. It's embarrassing. It's a bad look for the NFL. And don't get me started on the player selection. We talked about this yesterday. Gardner Minshew is a Pro Bowl alternate.
Wait, what?
Yes. Josh Allen not doing the Pro Bowl.
Wait a minute.
So Gardner Minshew is now a Pro Bowler.
No, stop. No. I didn't know.
Kyle.
Wait a minute. Gardner Minshew wasn't even a starter for his team all year.
He's a starter in the Pro Bowl, though. The selection process has become a joke. The way guys bow out, and you got guys like Gardner Minshew, Baker Mayfield, and a poor year Jalen Hurts as your quarterbacks in the Pro Bowl. It has become, across the board, it's become a joke. So here's my solution, right? It used to be something that the NFL could be proud of, a fun game that took seriously. Now it's a joke, it's a sideshow. It takes away from everything that the NFL is all about. Here's my solution. You keep the voting, okay? You keep the voting, a third players, a third coaches, a third fans. It can be sort of like an additional all-pro where, you know what, if you're voted into it, it is something that guys can hold high to their esteem. You can put it into contracts, and it can be on your like Wikipedia page, like 4-time Pro Bowler. That's pretty cool. But at least you're not getting the Gardner Minshews of the world that because 5 quarterbacks said no, now he's a Pro Bowler. That's not right. But what you do instead of celebrate, instead of going to a game and all that, anyone that gets invited to the Pro Bowl, that gets named a Pro Bowl, they should just go to Super Bowl week, go on a huge enjoyment, just make it be a fun trip for the guys. Every guy that I talked to that went to the Pro Bowl, all they say is, you know what, I don't really want to go, I don't really want to do any of this, but I'll take the extra money and I'll take a free trip to my family, for my family. That's exactly what they should do now. Just give them a free trip to the Super Bowl, enjoy all the festivities of Super Bowl week. That's the way they can be rewarded. And then the question is, okay, what about Sunday? Well, what are you going to do with the Sunday between the championship games and the Super Bowl? Here's what you do. Nothing. You do nothing. You let the Super Bowl grow and grow and grow. You let people be so hungry and so thirsty for another football game that by the time Super Bowl Sunday rolls around, they can't wait to watch football. If anything, you do more Super Bowl stuff to pump up that game. Make it a 2-week thing. Don't throw the Pro Bowl in the middle of there. Make it all Pro Bowl centric and make it by the time Super Bowl Sunday rolls around, people are more than hungry and not feeding them the little Pro Bowl joke sideshow. Eliminate the Pro Bowl, put nothing on that Sunday. If anything, just keep promoting the Pro Bowl. And the people that go to the Pro Bowl, just give them a free trip to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so Brad, I'm actually right here with you, along with the fact that the Pro Bowl is a complete joke. And now hearing that Gardner Minshew, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, Jalen Hurts, who played like so much trash that his offensive coordinator got fired, are all going to the Pro Bowl. Meanwhile, Jordan Love is going to be doing the same thing I'm doing. Probably not watching the Pro Bowl. It's a complete joke. I have no idea what to do with it. I didn't think it was. I would prefer watching the guys barely go out there and hit each other than what they have going on right now. Like it's not even a football game anymore. This is a great hear, Brad, out. Coming from a former NFL player, this actually has some type of validity to it, to the fact that, hey, if Bradley Nortman believes that they need to get rid of the Pro Bowl, then we probably need to get rid of the Pro Bowl. If you were still in the NFL, would you feel the same way?
I would.
I mean, that's missing out on some money.
But that's the thing. If you get selected to the Pro Bowl, you still have the voting. You just don't do the game. You don't do all like the joke sideshow stuff. If you get selected to the Pro Bowl,
but then there's no reason to have it. If you're not going to have any type of sideshow, then there's no reason to have it at all. What's the point of having that?
It's like a player, coach, fan. Like their all-pro team. The all-pro team is based on writers, and then you get the fans, coaches, and players. You got their all-pro team. But the thing is, nobody can, quote-unquote, opt out because they're not playing or anything like that. So there will be no such thing as a Pro Bowl alternate. There'll be nobody stepping into the shoes. You won't have this thing where it's like, wait, Gardner Minshew's a Pro Bowler? It's because 4 quarterbacks said no. So you get the crown of, hey, you made a Pro Bowl, and they just gift you a free trip.
You know, this goes back down what I was talking about before. You give people an inch, they take a mile. And that's exactly what you see in the NBA, where they got to do not a pickup game, but they got to do you got to select and draft teams in order to keep the players interested. And then you got to have like the Kobe type scoring thing. I don't even know what they do at the end of the game or whatever it is. You got to get to 24 points. I don't know what that is, but it just seems like once you tell people that something doesn't matter, you try to create something, they take it as a joke. They do. And like right now, the Pro Bowl is a complete joke. I don't like the fact that they don't have a real football game anymore. And it's disappointing. It is completely disappointing. And they might as well just get rid of the whole dang thing and say, you know what? If y'all don't want to participate in this, take the bonuses out for making the Pro Bowl. Get rid of all that, because if y'all not going to put y'all heart into actually trying to play the game, I'm not saying you got to go 100% out there, but heck, at least care about it. You're down to literally nobodies playing in the Pro Bowl game. Guys who you wouldn't even consider to be Pro Bowlers. If you ask people who are the Pro Bowl quarterbacks, maybe they may say Jalen, but they for sure not saying Geno, Baker, or Gardner.
It's crazy. I mean, I totally agree. It's just one of those things that the NFL, their standard of media and product is so high. I feel like this whole Pro Bowl thing, whether it be guys opting out, so you've got guys that aren't deserving of Pro Bowl stepping into their shoes, or even just what they do. I mean, you got grown men playing dodgeball. It makes no sense. I mean, Chris, what are your thoughts on this? I know that you always got strong takes. What are your thoughts on this as a third voice?
I'm not a big fan of the Pro Bowl either. I mean, back in the day, watching it was great when the people were actually hitting each other and moving at slow speeds. I mean, let's think of B.J. Raji going out there half speed for the Packers and just like, oh my God, this is just nonsense.
We love when Sean Taylor blew up Brian Mormon.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Even a punter, I can say that.
Yeah,
but I mean, I didn't even know there's not a game anymore. Would they have some kind of skills competition now or flag football or something like that? I'm not gonna watch any of it.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Ratings are down. This here Brad out was a winner. We'll figure out. I believe it was a winner, but we'll figure out if Rob Demovsky thinks it is a winner. We'll have Rob join us next. Keep it locked. You're listening to KBN on ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman.
Giannis does look like a longer, he beats on his body, like kind of plays so rough you wonder about. Shut up, Max. Yeah.
I'm not letting that one.
Yeah, I just realized beats on his body. Like I meant like physical.
I don't know what y'all talking about.
Physicality down there.
Come on, Kyle.
No, you guys are. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure your minds are in the gutter. Grow up.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Still seeing some slowdown southbound on 43 coming in from Silver Spring all the way to Locust. We've got westbound 94, 20th Street all the way through the Stadium Interchange to about Mitchell Boulevard, with the eastbound side slowing down coming out of the Stadium Interchange to about 25th Street. And then on southbound 894, just south of Beloit Road, we do have an accident off on the right shoulder still being worked on. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 36. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a high of 42. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
With your Saganiac Planning Marquette recap, I'm Chris Larson. Number 9 Marquette beat Villanova for a 6th straight time, taking down the Wildcats 85-80 on the road. MU is without guard Cam Jones due to an ankle injury, but sophomore guard Chase Ross returned to the lineup after missing the last 5 outings with a shoulder injury. Finished with 11 big points off the bench.
Chase Ross wide open 3.
Just hit one of those.
Oh, how pure is that? How soft.
The Golden Eagles now 16-5 overall and 7-3 in conference play. Marquette returns to action Saturday afternoon when the team travels to Georgetown.
For insurance made simple, look no further than Delta Dental of Wisconsin and Delta Vision. If you want benefits that encourage regular preventative care, savings when you need more than a checkup, quick service, and access to the largest provider networks, who can you rely on? There's one simple answer. Definitely Delta Dental and Delta Vision. Call Eric Pearson, Saganiac Planning, 262-783-6161. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service.
Woo! Hey, this is Ben Brust from Kyle Bruston Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin. People can't stop screaming about the Screamin' Sicilian frozen pizza, and no wonder. There's plenty to scream about, like the buttery stone-fired crust, secret recipe tomato sauce, mounds of whole milk mozzarella, and tons of premium toppings. Find Screamin' Sicilian in your local grocer's freezer and find out for yourself why Sporked called Screamin' Sicilian's Holy Pepperoni frozen pizza the best of the best. Screamin' Sicilian, taste what all the screamin' is about.
Hey, it's Kyle Walsh for Universal Windows Direct. If you've been cold in your own home, do not suffer through one more winter in a cold and drafty home. Call my guys at Universal Windows Direct. Schedule your free in-home estimate today, and for every 2 windows you buy, you get the next 2 free. Plus, a free upgrade to triple pane glass, and they'll double your energy tax credit. Tell them I told you to call and get an additional $250 off your project. Go to universalwindowsdirect.com, and you'll be saying, I love my windows.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Cousins Subs is teaming up with Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin and Bobby Portis from January 15th to February 29th in support of their PB&J Challenge campaign. Throughout the campaign, Cousins will donate 50 cents for every kids' meal sold to support the challenge. But there's more. Kids will receive a Bobby Portis headband with each kids' meal purchase, and Cousins will be offering a limited time only PB&J kids meal during the campaign. Cousins Subs. We believe in better. Headbands available while supplies last.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
We are now being joined by ESPN Packers reporter Rob Demovsky here on KBN. Rob, some news for you here. There's no Ben, only Brad and I, because Ben had his baby this week.
Well, that's great news.
Yeah, it is. So he's now a father and maybe more mature. We'll find out next week.
We're wondering how much.
I doubt that. I doubt that.
We're wondering how much work he's actually doing on his end, but I'm sure he'll tell us he did a lot.
I'm sure he will.
Now, before we get into the Packers talk, there's so much to talk about in the Packers world. We know you wrote an article on ESPN.com about, the future is so bright for the Green Bay Packers. But I just got to know this. Are you a 4-day work week type of guy? Like, are you for 4-day work weeks, or are you more of the traditional work 5 days a week?
Is there a less than 4 option?
Hey, let's go.
Yeah, okay. You would love that.
Hey, you know the way I look at it, Kyle, and like during the season, like it's 7 days a week, like, and that's fine. But during the off season, it should not be like more than 3 or 4 days a week. And honestly, most of the time it isn't. And that's what I love about this job. Like, I don't want to be in a job where I show up at 8 o'clock in the morning and I leave at 5 o'clock at night every day. I love the freedom. I am in, of all places right now, Galesburg, Illinois, to watch my son's Lawrence University basketball team play Knox College this afternoon. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I were in an 8 to 5 job. So, and I wouldn't be able to do it if the Packers were in the Super Bowl as well. So I fully realize that as well. But I'm all for work hard when it's time to work, and then when it's not, enjoy it.
Beautifully said, Rob, as always. And before we get really deep into the Packer conversation, here, Brad Out, this week's edition was, I made the argument that the NFL should just completely eliminate the Pro Bowl. Basically, this circus of grown men playing dodgeball, and people are opting out, and Gardner Minshew is now a Pro Bowler. I mean, it's just become so much of a joke. Just if these guys get voted in, give them a free trip to the Super Bowl, and let that Sunday be open for anticipation for the Super Bowl. What do you say?
Here's what I would do. I've thought a lot about this over the last couple of years, Brad. You know how they have the NFL Honors Night on, Saturday before the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
So I would do a Pro Bowl edition of that this weekend, right, on the off week, wherever the Super Bowl is. And here's what you have to do. You have to keep the Pro Bowl selections a secret, okay? But invite everybody who's made it out to the Super Bowl site and have a NFL Honors type of event, a made-for-TV event where you introduce all the Pro Bowlers. And it's a surprise. Like, that's how the news of the Pro Bowl is broken. They get a trip to the Super Bowl site. They get a night to be recognized. They get their bonuses for whatever, if they had it in their contract. And that's it. And that way, ESPN, or who I believe ESPN, I believe we telecast the Pro Bowl, we still have programming, right? Because I guarantee you, ESPN would not be putting the Pro Bowl on TV if it wasn't worth it from a financial standpoint and people weren't willing to advertise. But in this case, just take all those advertising people and put them on that award show, and there you have it.
Wow, I like that. That was the Hear Rob Out edition. That was very good. I like that.
He's prepared now. He's definitely coming prepared.
Yeah,
I was thinking about the Pro Bowl this week, about why, like, when I saw all these alternates get named, I'm like,
Gardner Minshew, for real?
Is he in the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, Gardner Minshew is an alternate because, no Mahomes, no Allen. I mean, all these guys are dropping out.
Yeah, right. Wow, that's crazy.
It is. Well, hey, so as we pivot into Packer football talk, we were talking today. It's been a week since Joe Barry was fired, and we've seen candidates that allegedly and leaked have been hired by the Packers. But you're starting to see, McDonald is now the head coach of Seattle, and you see other roles being filled. Is there any fear that the Packers are starting to take too long with this process?
I don't think so, Brad. And driving down here, I made a few phone calls and talked to some people. And while I wish I had a name for you, I don't. But I do know that I was told that there are other people involved in this search whose names have not come out yet. Now, unfortunately, those people would not tell me who those were. But I don't think the search is just limited to the, I don't know, what has it been, 5 or 6 reported candidates that have interviewed. Not saying that one of those guys isn't going to be the guy eventually. But I do think there are other options, other people out there that they are exploring. And I would think that by the end of this week, maybe it spills into the weekend, but I would think by the time the weekend is out, I would think they would have somebody hired. That's the way I feel like it's trending. And that's typically the way it takes. I mean, I believe when they hired Joe Barry, it was the Saturday after the week of the end of the week after Mike Pettin was released. So I think we're getting close, but I do think there could be candidates or even possibly the guy who's the defensive coordinator that nobody's talked about yet. I don't know who it is. I wish I could say, but I don't. But I do know that there are other people involved in this search.
Do you think there's any type of validity to the fact that Ejiro Evero, the defensive coordinator from Carolina, might be a surprise candidate that Matt LaFleur might be waiting for?
Well, that is possible, Kyle. He's under contract, right, with Carolina. And it doesn't look like he's going to get one of the 2 remaining. Well, there's only one head coaching job open right now, Washington, right? If I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
I don't think he's going to. Doesn't seem like he's going to get that job. The question is, does Carolina let him go? I was told he's under contract for next year, which means that the Panthers would have to release him. The new coach there would have to decide that he doesn't want him, and I don't believe that has happened yet. So that is possible that could be a thing. To be honest with you, I thought that's who they were going to hire 3 years ago. I really did.
And you're smarter than Matt LaFleur, then.
If they can get him this time around, then that's great.
Speaking of Matt LaFleur, how much pressure is on him to get this one right? Because he's checked so many boxes with the head coaching, persona that he is, but he hasn't been able to quite figure out the hiring of his support staff. So is this like a defining moment for him, or is that saying too much?
I think it might be saying a tad too much, because had they come off a season, Brad, where they didn't make the playoffs and they didn't turn the thing around, then yes, I think there'd be a ton of pressure on him. I think he's in the position now where he's shown that it's not just Aaron Rodgers, right? I wrote about that the week of one of the playoff games, that it's not just he's winning without Aaron Rodgers, which is a huge thing for a coach. So I think he has even become more secure in his position, if that makes sense. And I think he can, so yes, he needs to get it right. Obviously, they all need to get it right. But I don't think Matt LaFleur is one season away from being in trouble. I think this season really, really helped him in terms of showing, that he's a viable long-term coach, and that he's not just a guy who won because Aaron Rodgers was here.
So I was told Goody has a press conference tomorrow, and I'm very curious.
Yes.
What is it that the burning questions that a lot of people have on their minds, specifically you for Goody tomorrow?
Yeah, I've got a couple things jotted down, Kyle. One, I think he has to be asked why he never brought in another kicker. Is he going to answer it? He's probably going to say, well, we had faith in Anders, and that's the way we decided to go. But I think that question needs to be asked. I think the topic of, are you going to be willing in May, when the 12 months since Jordan Love's extension has passed, to engage in talks about a contract? Or are you unwilling to do that, and you're going to try to make him play out the last year of his deal? To me, those are the two biggest questions. There's other things that I don't think we're going to get answers on, because the standard answer is, when it comes to free agents and guys that maybe have bigger contracts, is we want all of our guys back. but certainly guys like David Bakhtiari, Aaron Jones, Devondre Campbell, Preston Smith, those types of guys are, I think that their futures need to be asked. And the other thing, I don't know how many answers we'll get, but was he involved at all in the pressing of Matt LaFleur to make a change at defensive coordinator, and is he involved in the choice to replace him? My suspicion is no, because he is not LaFleur's boss. But I do think those are all questions that I've thought of. But if you have some, I'd be happy to add them to my list.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. I think I'll let you be the professional journalist, and I'll just be the personality here. But I do think there is a lot to some of those questions that you were definitely focusing on.
Yeah, I'm curious how he's going to answer those. And, one more question before we let you go. You put out a great tweet this morning talking about, what were the moments that stick out to you for Jordan Love, and when did you know he was the guy? Do any moments jump out for you for answering your own question?
Yeah, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, Brad. It was a little bit of a tease and work for a story that I'm going to do at some point this off season about just what were the moments, right? And I went back through and watched I watched the condensed versions of the games. I didn't watch I'm not going to sit here and say I watched 3 hours of 17 games, but I did watch the offensive condensed versions and jotted down about 20 or so plays that I thought were kind of game changers. A couple that came to mind instantly without even having to go back. Remember that double fake screen pass that ended up being a seam route to Luke Musgrave down the middle for a touchdown? To me, that was that almost looked Aaron Rodgers-esque. That little sidearm flick to Romeo Doubs on the 3rd and goal against the Cowboys. But I'm not sometimes you're so close to it that you forget things. And fans are so good at remembering plays that I kind of put that out there because I'm sure there were things that I hadn't thought of. And, probably tomorrow I'll go back through the mentions and see something. Oh yeah, I forgot about that play that somebody mentioned. So I have not looked at the mentions yet. I've seen that there are, a bunch of responses, and I'm very curious to see what fans think. But those that I mentioned were just a couple that stood out. And honestly, it's going to sound crazy, but some of the throws in week 1 against Chicago, I know he sort of regressed for a little bit in the month of October, but I remember walking out of Soldier Field going, man, they got it, right? I mean, they have something here. So, I'm going to probably narrow it down to 4, 5, 6, 7 plays, but I'm really curious to go back and see what other people think.
Yeah, I actually think that it wasn't. I don't think it was the best pass, but the Christian Watson play action fake, and they completed that pass. For me, that's like a turning point for the Green Bay Packers.
Which game was that?
That was the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving Day. Sure. To me, that was, I don't know if the best pass, but just a turning point overall for this team. That was something that was so important for the confidence of this team. To say, no.
Yeah.
We want to keep this play call here, Matt. We want to keep this, and that for me was a big turning point.
Yeah, that was a big one. It wasn't the greatest pass in the world, maybe not, but it was a great catch, and it was a sign that they trusted him, right? I think that's a great one. I don't know if that was on my list, so I'm glad you said that.
And then, Rob, lastly here, we were talking about whether or not we trust Matt LaFleur to make the decision, and we're talking about who we want as a defensive coordinator, and we got in somehow talking about donuts, and somebody said we don't want to end up, if we wait too long, we don't want to end up like somebody who has the last donut in the box, which is the plain, nasty donut out there. Why would you label Joe Barry as a donut?
He was one of those, what kind of donut, Kyle?
Yeah, what kind of donut?
He was like the plain glazed one that is a decent donut, but always got picked last.
Oh,
that was my answer too, Rob.
Is.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
It wasn't the Boston cream or the Bavarian cream that I might have eaten on the way down on the drive down today.
Thanks so much for joining us here today, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
All right, guys. Great to talk to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is Rob Demovsky. You can read all his material on ESPN.com. Rob Demovsky is an ESPN Packers reporter. When we come back, we'll wrap up the ESPN Wisconsin hour number 2. I don't know, Brad. Maybe we'll finish up talking more DC, or maybe we'll have some more harmony. We'll figure it out. Keep it locked. You're listening to KBN.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN.
My offer, as we've come up with it at KBN, thanks to JD and Fondy, reutilizing Judy, who is still in my garage right now.
Is she a big booty Judy or a little flapjack booty Judy?
She's got a little something to her. I'll say that.
Oh, she got some
Judy the blow-up doll. She got a little something to her.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Back then, we'd spend nights in front of the boob tube. We'd take our same seats, smoke cigarettes, and watch until the station played. We all smoked in those days. If that was you then, get your lungs screened now. Surviving lung cancer starts with a scan. Learn more at screenyourlungs.org. This PSA was made possible by industry funding and guidance from lung cancer patient groups.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin's energy-efficient windows keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 36 months. You heard that right. No interest for up to 36 months if you book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
This is ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman, here to tell you about my favorite go-to drink. That's Carbless. Carbless is a ready-to-drink, handcrafted vodka and tequila cocktail. Even better, it's 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 0 gluten, and just 100 calories. And listen to this, less carbonation. This leads to less bloat. I can indulge in something delicious without having that health guilt. Carbless is crafted right here in Wisconsin. It has a flavor for everyone, from black raspberry to cranberry, pineapple and lemon, and my favorite, margarita. Find Carbless online and at a retailer near you. Less is more.
Be greeted by an owner at America's largest employee-owned jewelry store.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Bucks fans, join us for our 414 All Nights, a celebration of our diverse fan base where we showcase fan stories and highlight their unique and impactful contributions to our community. Come for the amazing Bucks basketball action. Stay for the recognition of our amazing fan base at our 414 All Nights, where diversity is embraced and every fan is celebrated. Go to bucks.com/impact for dates and details.
It's time for the Ortho ASAP Minute from Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin.
Dr. Sam Steiner is joining me. How important is it that actual surgery is viewed as a last option?
The way we always want to treat people is try and do something least invasive to get people where they want to be. And in some cases, that means talking to them, setting them up with a therapist, explaining what they have going on. And in other cases, if it comes to it, then yes, it means operating on them.
When you're dealing with very active people, how do you help them handle the entire process of recovery?
The hardest part with some patients is explain to them that even though you feel great, you do have to have a period where you lay off. You adhere to precautions and protocol. But I think when you take a person, you have them do the least invasive procedure. That's what we want to do, is we want to be forefront, cutting edge, doing the least invasive possible to get people back onto a protocol that gets them back into the activity they want to do the fastest.
The Ortho ASAP Minute is sponsored by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
They say love is a universal language. Well, that's definitely true if you're talking about bacon. I mean, who doesn't love bacon? Forget the chocolates. Give the gift of bacon. It's everyone's love language. And you're going to love it that our bacon's on sale right now. With quick hot savings, we're taking bacon down to $2.49 a 12-ounce pack. Limit 2. Savings on bacon? Whoa, that's 2 love languages at once. And we're multilingual like that. Quick Trip. We're saving your bacon.
For general contest rules, visit ESPNWisconsinContest.com.
Spending more time at home? Don't forget that 94.5 ESPN's on your smart speaker. Just ask Alexa to open 94.5 ESPN. 94.5 ESPN on Alexa is presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. You're listening to Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Just watch me dance.
Oh boy, boy, y'all know I love me some Underdog Fantasy. I want you to join in on all the fun for not only the remainder of the football season on Underdog Fantasy, but also NBA action, basketball action. Right now, tonight, you can pick higher or lower for Giannis. 30 points, 30.5 points, higher or lower. I think Giannis puts on the show. I think Damian Lillard going back to Portland, he puts on the show. I think Chris Middleton, he puts on the show. I think Doc Rivers and the Bucks, they put on a great show. I'm going higher, higher, higher. You can have the same fun I have with Underdog Fantasy by using KBN promo code. Promo code KBN. You can play the pick'em game where you pick between 2 to 5 players. You select higher or lower, and if you hit, you can win up to 100 times your money. So go to your app. Go to the Apple Store. Go to the Android Store. Download the Underdog Fantasy app or go to UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up using promo code KBN, and they will match your first deposit up to $100. And also, they'll give you a special pick of higher than 0.5 total yards to use on your first pick'em entry. It's Underdog Fantasy, promo code KBN, and it's a lot of fun. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. This is KBN, and we've had a lot of fun here today, Brad. We've talked about donuts. We've talked about Joe Barry. We've talked about 4-day work weeks, which is more controversial than I would have ever thought. What's your biggest takeaway from the 4-day work week in the DC conversation?
Well, there's a lot to take away. 1 4-day work week. You walked into a buzzsaw. Might be on the 5-day work week side of that. Man, that's a pretty passionate thing that people are about. But I get it, because I think my weekends, I want them structured with a little bit of everything. A little bit of rest, a little bit getting stuff done, and a little bit of fun. I feel like 3 days is appropriate for that. And then, honestly, just thinking about the Packers defensive coordinator, absolutely fascinating to hear from Rob, thinking that from everything he's hearing, when he puts his ear to the ground, might be other names in the mix, and it might be happening faster than we think. Now, obviously, you never quite know how these things are going to unfold. That's promising to me. That shows to me that they are wasting no time getting their guy. They're willing to expand beyond what might be even comfortable. I'm curious to see who that might be, because it seemed like the guys that the Packers have interviewed so far, the public names, they're kind of your run-of-the-mill young up-and-comers, right? Which I think a lot of those guys are getting several interviews from other teams. Curious who the other guys that are not getting publicized are.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Who are the mystery guys? And if you want to listen to that great interview we had with Rob Demovsky, make sure you download the Wisconsin On Demand app or go to WisconsinOnDemand.com. You can listen back to our full show here of KBN, but definitely listen back to that Rob Demovsky interview as he dropped a few nuggets and also some questions he's going to ask Goody tomorrow during his press conference. And also, as we were talking about what type of donut Joe Barry was earlier as well, when we were talking about donuts, Brad, he said, listen, and this is a different Brad, not our Brad. He said Joe Barry is the moldy donut that you find behind the fridge, and then you make a bet that will result with Ben Bruss eating it.
That's pretty spot on. That's pretty spot on.
Very, very accurate. But you know what else is spot on?
What's that?
When you have a chance to go into that same fridge and you look inside and you see a delicious carbless.
All this talk about the weekend, it just get me thinking about carbless, because that's what I'm going to be doing. I know right when the weekend hits, I'm walking down to my fridge and I'm getting a carbless. That's because, like today, this morning, I got a lower body lift and I feel pretty good. My legs are shivering a little bit. The last thing that I want to do is go ahead and mess up that workout. Carbless lets me do that. It lets me have all the fun I want to do, be able to relax, put my feet up, enjoy a tasty, delicious, ready-to-made cocktail with real rum, real vodka, real tequila. This isn't the fake stuff. This is real stuff. But also to do it in a guilt-free manner. That's because just like the name it says, no carbs, no sugar, no gluten, 100 calories per can, less carbonation. Somehow they get just the right amount of carbonation. Not too much where I'd feel bloat, but not so little that's not still very refreshing. They got every flavor you want. Right now I'm dabbling in the classic cocktails of Paloma, Moscow Mule, Mojito, and Strawberry Margarita. Pick that up from the grocery store this weekend. I love my carbless. I want you to love your carbless. Find out why less is more and find them online and at retailers near you.
Boy, oh boy, I tell you, I'm not concerned whatsoever, right? I shouldn't be. Matt LaFleur, he's going to find a good DC, right?
He knows. Sometimes you have to go through some challenges before you know how to figure out the guy.
I feel good. I definitely should. I feel good. And you should feel good, too. We'll talk about that and a lot more coming up here on KBN. We'll stick with you here in Milwaukee and Beaver Dam. Madison, you have Rutledge and Hamilton up next. Keep it locked. This is KBN.
I just don't believe it. Sell out.
Bit of a heavy ride along northbound 4394. Problem is an accident right on the high-rise bridge blocking the left lane. So just be prepared for that. We've got the southbound side of 43 slowing down from Silver Spring down past Locust, back on the brakes right around Fond du Lac Avenue down through the Marquette. Westbound 94 going to be heavy out of the Marquette all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, partly cloudy skies, a low of 36. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a high of 42. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Racine Danish Kringles is a perfect Valentine's Day gift for that special someone with their heart-shaped Kringle. This tasty treat features pink icing in raspberry, chocolate, silk, cherry, and pecan flavors. Go to Kringle.com or call 800-4DANISH to order.
Hey, Drew Scott here, and I'm Jonathan Scott, reminding you that life's better with a home policy from American Family Insurance. They can help you get just the right protection at just the right price and help you save when you bundle home and auto. Kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It'll be just right for you. We love a custom build. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
After an accident, don't wait to get the help you need. Call Gruber Law Offices first. There is no fee until we win your case. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Gabe Neitzel here. Catch Jen, Gabe, and Chewy mornings 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. Broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
We them boys. Holla, we them boys. Holla, holla, holla. We making noise. Holla. Holla, 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 holla.
It's the 414 hour at 4 on KBN.
What do you think, Chris?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all.
Improvement?
Yeah,
from yesterday?
definitely.
Man, by Friday, I'm coming for your job, Kyle.
Hey, I ain't worried about it. I sometimes need to take a breath and step back. Head hurt now from all this dang talking I'm doing and yelling.
I sure like hearing you talk and yell, though.
Oh.
So it's working out?
Oh, man. You know what I wanted to say so bad?
What?
There's a button that Chris usually presses. And I wanted to say it, but we're going to be a family-friendly...
Yeah,
no, not that one.
Oh.
We're going to be a family-friendly show this week.
Kyle.
Now that...
Don't take advantage of my kindness.
No, now that Ben is Papa Ben now, I think that we're going to be a little bit more family-friendly, and we're going to be more G than we are, because now he has a child that is going to be listening to his show eventually in a couple years as well.
That's wild to think about.
I know, right?
That's a great point. I wonder if he'll go back and play our show. Be like, this is your dad. This is your dad talking right now. The kid's probably just gonna be like, not interested, Dad. Give me some toys.
Yeah, probably be that way. Probably. But all right, so I was dabbling on the internet a little bit, just scrolling. And usually in the morning when I wake up, I halfway can see, and I'll read stuff in bed. I barely even know what I'm reading, but I'm reading it, and I barely remember, did that really happen? And so this morning, I wake up, alarm goes off, and I go and do my scrolls that I do, and I see an article about Aaron Rodgers. And the fact that, matter of fact, I'm going to read the exact headline that I saw this morning, because when I went in there, I'm like, oh, what Aaron Rodgers done did. And so the headline read for Aaron Rodgers, Robert Saleh, and how the Jets season fell apart. Something has to change. And I thought to myself, how in the world is it possible for a quarterback who tore his Achilles on play, I believe, number 3,
I think
played 3-year number 4, tore his Achilles, and really had no impact on the field whatsoever for this franchise and this organization. And they're already talking about something has to change. And it just got me to thinking, is Rodgers the problem? When you look at Rodgers' career, do you think it has been him being held back by others, or has it been himself that is the downfall of Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, it's a great question because, Diana Rossini's article in The Athletic today that Kyle was referring to, just breaking down the whole Jets season. And we all know what we saw on the surface. There's clearly a lot going on underneath where these coaches were just fawning over Aaron Rodgers, and he was given basically full GM capabilities where he could bring in anybody he wanted to at any price, and he was clearly given a lot of power. And I just see the way this all went down. It was reflective of his time with the Green Bay Packers. And, there's a lot of toxicity in the Jets organization now. It was always a little bit of a bad culture in New York, but it's seemingly gotten worse. It's hit like rock bottom this year. It made me think about Aaron Rodgers because his greatness can't be denied. He is an excellent thrower of the football, 4-time MVP, Super Bowl champion. I mean, he is a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, but there's still something in me that feels like there's still some meat on the bone for him. He should have accomplished more. He should have done more. And then the question of, well, what held him back then? And whether it be himself or his circumstances, look, there was plenty of circumstances to point to, like this year his torn Achilles and bad defenses for the Packers. But to me, you have to look into yourself in the mirror. And for Aaron Rodgers, it's the same way. It has been himself that has held him back. We know who Aaron Rodgers is. He's a me guy. He's, basically the guy that if he was a tennis player or a golfer, he would be unbelievable because all he has to do is rely on himself. It's his own execution. Don't rely on me.
He should have been the next great American hope in tennis, huh?
He should have been.
Andre Agassi, Pete Sampras, and then Aaron Rodgers.
That's right. It could have been Aaron Rodgers.
Or Andy Roddick, Aaron and Andy.
And the similarities with those is it's a single player sport. It's not a team sport. Football is the ultimate team sport. And for whatever reason, Aaron Rodgers is not particularly skilled at cultivating healthy relationships and getting people to trust him and just doing things that would facilitate a healthy team, a healthy locker room, and a healthy leader. Now, he's an amazing quarterback, but it's not just in the locker room. You see this on the field. Some of the golden opportunities that the Packers had to win a Super Bowl was 2020, 2021. And what happened there? What happened there was he did not trust the guys around him. He focused on Devontae Adams. He was out of sync. It was one of those things where you saw the issues of a lack of trust in the offense, whether it be Matt LaFleur or whoever else, coming out. And it kept him from doing more. So for me, Aaron Rodgers, first ballot Hall of Famer, and Packer fans should be grateful that he was the Packer quarterback for 15 years as a starter, 18 years as a Packer. But he could have and should have accomplished more, and it's primarily due to him, his personality, and all the drama that he brings to the table.
So you think Aaron Rodgers, the circumstances that he was dealt with as the Green Bay Packers quarterback, played less of a role, and you think it was himself being his own worst enemy?
I do think that.
And see, this is where I disagree. And I know you got some more insight than I do. I'm just a fan. I'm just an Aaron Rodgers stan. I'm just a Brett Favre stan. I'm just a Jordan Love stan. I'm just a stan. But I know a little football, and I know a little talent. And Aaron Rodgers also knows a little football and knows a lot of talent as well. And when I look at the Green Bay Packers and I look at the situation he had, I 100% and wholeheartedly believe the circumstances Aaron Rodgers had as a quarterback here in Green Bay is what held him back. And why I say that is this. It's because Mike McCarthy was a great coach. He was. But at a certain point during Mike McCarthy's tenure, him and Aaron Rodgers weren't seeing eye to eye. And Mike McCarthy didn't go for winning games. He was trying to hold on. We had Brian Bulaga join us last week, and you can listen back to that Brian Bulaga interview with us on Wisconsin On Demand on the app, or go to the website as well at wisconsinondemand.com. And Brian Bulaga said, listen, in that game against the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC Championship game, I believe it was in 2015, he said, we looked at the sideline like, what are these play calls doing? Like, why are we running the ball against this great, tremendous defense called the Legion of Boom? Why are we trying to run the ball in a box that's filled with 9 players when we only have 7 guys to block? The offensive lineman and Brian Bulaga felt that way. You know the quarterback and Aaron Rodgers felt that way as well. And then you fast forward to the fact that Goody takes over, it was not his first choice to take over as GM. And Goody, instead of putting great weapons and veterans around him, what did Goody do? Goody used a first-round pick, which hindsight is 2020, ended up working out. But he used it on Jordan Love. He drafted a running back in A.J. Dillon. He drafted a guy in Josiah DeGuara that wasn't meant to be drafted to be a stud tight end like Luke Musgrave or a great tight end like Tucker Kraft. He was drafted to be a guy that would block. That's what he did early on in Aaron Rodgers. When he became the GM, that's what he did late in Aaron Rodgers' career. When Aaron Rodgers was trying to win Super Bowls, Goody was trying to plan for the future. They did not align. And so when you can't trust your GM, when you can't trust your head coach as well, and you talked about lack of trust, that comes from his personal experiences that he had as a Green Bay Packers quarterback. The Packers never did enough to put enough around Brett Favre to win championships, and they never did enough to put enough around Aaron Rodgers to win championships. This defense, regardless of what they've done in drafting all these 8 first-round picks, they failed at getting a solid defense around Aaron Rodgers and around Brett Favre, and we as fans now have to suffer with only winning 2 Super Bowls in a span of 30 years. And I blame that on the organization, and so I'm not going to sit here and blame Aaron Rodgers for the circumstances that he was handed and the circumstances I had to watch and deal with as a fan.
But Aaron Rodgers has a fatal flaw, right? It's kept him from doing that. Everything you just described was more of like trust and relationship oriented. It's not like Rodgers did his part to try to build those bridges. He is prickly and he is, kind of self-focused and he's confident in his opinion and his viewpoints on things. So if there is any friction that occurs, it's not like he's the one to try to mend those bridges and build those bridges. He's the kind of guy to even be more stubborn and more set in his ways.
Maybe he tried to do things early on in his career. Aaron Rodgers wasn't always this Aaron Rodgers. There's no way. When he was sitting behind Brett Favre, waiting for his opportunity and celebrating when Brett Favre did great things, he wasn't probably this same guy.
That's true.
He probably got more rigid and rugged as he realized the reality of the NFL that, listen, you even said it yourself, is be out there for you. Because the organization ain't looking out for the best of you. They looking out for the best of the organization. And unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers was the best player on a good football team that was not good enough to win championships. And I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers was perfect, but I'm saying those around him did not do enough to go all in. To watch Peyton Manning leave the Indianapolis Colts and go down to Denver and watch Denver literally do anything and everything they could because their Super Bowl window that they had, they knew it was short. They knew they had more than 3 seasons with injured coming back from a neck injury Peyton Manning, and they were going to maximize the fact that they had Peyton Manning and other teams did not. And what did they do? They built a Super Bowl championship team, and they won themselves a Super Bowl ring. You look at Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they already had a good roster down there in Tampa Bay that Tom Brady went to, but you know what else they did? They signed more players to put more weapons around Tom Brady to ensure that Tom Brady came, he saw, and he conquered exactly what the mission was, which was winning a Super Bowl. Now, you have Aaron Rodgers for, 15 seasons?
15 seasons.
You had Aaron Rodgers for 15 seasons, and never once offensively did you put weapons around him in order to ensure if he was looking left, he was looking right.
I don't know about that.
No, all the guys they drafted. They never signed an offensive weapon to put around him.
But they drafted guys pretty great, right? Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson.
But what did they let those guys do as well?
Walk when they got old.
They let a lot of these guys walk when they got old, and then they had Devontae be disgruntled. They didn't do a good job replenishing. I mean, they signed Martellus Bennett, they signed Jared Cook, and then you want to pay Jared Cook the way he needed to get paid, and ended up letting the tight end walk, the same tight end that saved the game for the Packers against the Dallas Cowboys in that playoff game where he toe tapped on the sideline. The Green Bay Packers never did enough to put enough people around Aaron Rodgers, and that's where the mistrust comes with Aaron Rodgers, and that's why we had the nasty, disgusting divorce that we had this past offseason.
But don't you think that Aaron Rodgers plays some role in that of not allowing and helping the other guys develop around him? Even when, look, I get it. He was friends with Cobb. He was friends with Jordy Nelson. But if he didn't probably put in work with Devontae wouldn't have grown to who he was once, who he became.
He had time. He had time to do it with Devontae, right? When you look at this Packers roster and all these young dudes, this is one thing when you have time. He was still young when Devontae came. Matter of fact, he was probably still either he was like 31 or he was in his late 20s when they got Devontae Adams, and he had great weapons around him. So that team had time to develop Devontae Adams. He can drop as many passes as he needs because they said, listen, this kid's going to be good. He's getting open. He can't catch right now, but when he starts catching the football, watch out. Aaron Rodgers was still young. He still had a lot of seasons in front of him. As Aaron Rodgers gets older, his window of winning championships got smaller. And the last thing you want to do is be an old man working around a whole bunch of young pups and trying to make those young pups grow up, because by the time they grow up, you might might be too old to be able to play with him.
I mean, that's true. I just think the same thing that made Aaron Rodgers great is the same thing that's his fatal flaw. It's like a chip on his shoulder. It's me against the world, and let me show you. Even in the article, his little Achilles scooter had a license plate, and it read "Watch me." The dude just wants to prove everybody wrong. He feeds on negativity. Just imagine for a moment.
Yep.
You put Drew Brees' persona, leadership, selflessness, whatever, in Aaron Rodgers' body. You can't tell me that he wouldn't have had more success.
He wouldn't be the same guy.
Oh, God.
He wouldn't be the same guy. The arrogance, the self-centeredness, everything that Aaron Rodgers became and who he is the reason why Aaron Rodgers is great. He was just silently being an arrogant person, but once he found the success, once he started dating all these women, once he decided, you know what, I'm cutting my own family off, that's when he realized he was the man. He came into his own. But, Brad, you played in the NFL. You have to have some type of inside scoop, or what were the conversations and the murmurs about Aaron Rodgers and being a teammate, or the things that you heard about people that played around Aaron Rodgers or knew people who played with Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, no, great question. I played with countless guys that played with Aaron, and it opened my eyes in a lot of ways. Because I'll be honest, right? I played with University of Wisconsin. I got drafted by Carolina. I was kind of a Packer fan for a couple of years before it really died out.
A couple of years, you were a Packer backer. You grew up doing the Pack Arena just like I was.
For sure. And so my first year in 2012, this is coming off Packers Super Bowl 2 years before. They went 15-1 the year before I went in the NFL. So I still like to see the Packers do well when I was playing. That sort of faded when I started playing against the Packers on a regular basis. But, you would hear guys talk about two things. One, his physical greatness. I mean, he could throw a ball with anybody. I would hear guys say that in 7-on-7, on team, in Scully, whatever it was, the ball wouldn't hit the ground. They would go 50 straight passes without an incomplete pass. I mean, insane numbers. And then obviously you saw that efficiency on the field. So guys would watch him in practice and have to pick their jaws up off the ground. I would also ask about, hey, what's he like with the boys, And guys, you need to get answers from he's California cool, he's too cool for school, So this was even early on. He had a little bit of that swagger, a little bit of that confidence, kind of grew into cockiness over time. And they said, even guys would say he's very, very smart. You can tell he's very smart. Sometimes he uses that smartness for negativity, right? Like he could hit you with a cutting, sarcastic comment as well as anybody. So he was sort of prickly and smart and overconfident and a man that sees the world through his own lens, but equally great too. So, those things though, they take a toll over time, right? You can spend a minute with someone that's smart and sarcastic and, self-oriented. You spend 10 years with that guy, oof, that's gonna wear on you.
So would you ever want to play with Aaron Rodgers?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So all the cold pricklies, all the little snarky comments, all the little cut deep and sarcasm, you still would play with him?
I'd want that Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying.
I want that Super Bowl chance.
And that's my whole point. They could have got guys around Aaron Rodgers to get to that Super Bowl because everybody wants to win that Super Bowl ring. Everybody wants to win a championship. And knowing that you have a guy that can attract talent to be around him, and we've been lucky enough. Listen, Green Bay ain't the most attractive place to be. I know that we don't like Justin Fields and the comments that he made, but now that we're not playing the Bears, I can actually be honest and real and say, he was right. Listen, there's not much to do in Green Bay. I enjoy going to Green Bay, but I understand that. But having Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers makes Green Bay an attractive place. And when you are an attractive place, you have to take advantage of the person that makes it attractive, and that is your starting quarterback. 800-990-3776. Aaron Rodgers, there was an article written by Diana Rossini of The Athletic talking about kind of the behind the scenes with Aaron Rodgers and the antics that were going on behind the scenes with the Jets this year, which led Brad and I to want to ask, Rodgers' career, was he held back more by himself or was he held back by circumstances? You can chime in on the conversation on Wisconsin Talk and Text Line. And Rob, he said on the Talk and Text Line, how much more do you want? Just a couple years ago, they had the number one overall offense, and Rodgers choked in the postseason year after year.
You ain't wrong.
That is very true.
It was very untimely bad games for Aaron Rodgers. That's what drove me crazy.
He was pressing too much.
Yeah.
Something was going on.
Yeah.
He definitely was going on. But you know who I can always trust? I can always trust the Bath Authority to make sure they're going to hook you up. So if your bath or shower is old or outdated, has mold, mildew, or broken tiles, you got to call my friends at the Bath Authority. The Bath Authority provides the highest quality bathroom remodeling products along with a world-class customer experience. I bet you they work more than 4 days a week. I guarantee you they do, because the Bath Authority, they will take care of you. And plus, it comes with a lifetime warranty. So whether it's a walk-in tub, replacement shower, tub to shower conversions, and more, my boys at the Bath Authority have you covered. All the Bath Authority products are made 100% in the USA and can be installed in as little as 1 day by a certified factory technician. Can you believe that? A full bath remodel in as little as 1 day? That saves you so much time. It takes away the nerves of doing a remodel, and knowing that you have a certified factory technician, man, oh man, it is worth every single penny. And talking about pennies, guess what? If you call them today, they'll give you $1,000 off your new shower. Yes, $1,000 off your new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. You got to take advantage of that deal today. Beautify your bathroom with Bath Authority. You are their priority. Elevate your bathroom to a new level of luxury and style and safety. Again, schedule your free in-home estimate today and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. And thebathauthority.com is where you need to go. Thebathauthority.com, because a better bath awaits.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman, KBN.
And I'm sure he'll offer this opportunity again.
Absolutely
What are you going to sell? What are you going to say to Ben Brust?
I'm saying, you don't get your hand on my goddamn face. No, it's a no. I can say it in different languages. No, no, no.
Niche or whatever it is.
I don't know.
Nine. That's a firm way to say no.
Nine. Next time we say nine.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Still have a problem on northbound 4394. It's an accident blocking the left lane right at the top of the high-rise bridge. It's backing things up all the way back to Lincoln. Southbound on 43, also going to be a hefty ride coming in from before Hampton Avenue all the way down through the Marquette interchange. We've got also an accident off of the freeway. This is on Highway 164 northbound, just north of the Rock Freeway. So watch out for that. East and westbound on 94, as you might imagine. We've got some backups basically from 20th Street all the way to Hawley Road. Traffic is brought to you by the Delafield Brew House. A porter is in order at the Delafield Brew House. Their medium-bodied ale is brewed with dark roasted malt for a smooth, bold finish. The Delafield Brew House. Drink ale, live lager. And check the DMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight. Partly cloudy with a low of 36. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a high of 42. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga, 94.5 ESPN.
Football guy.
What the hell happened to Bucky on your hat?
Football guy.
A lot of wear and tear for old B.
Coming at it from different views.
I'm just saying, he's well worn. I mean, his face is missing. Okay, well, it's probably time for me to freshen that up. Bucky wants to flip you off right now.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by Coors Light. Weekdays 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN. And available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Brewers win!
Get more from your live baseball experience with the 2024 Brewers Ticket Plan. On sale now. Don't miss more exclusive Brewers season seat holder rewards, like your very own batting practice session, more can't-miss action, and more access to the game you love. It's your ticket to being a VIP Brewers fan this season. Plus, you'll enjoy savings on ticket prices you can't get anywhere else. Learn more at brewers.com/ticket plans.
I had a really strange experience today.
Strange how?
A man walked into the store who was only about 2.5 feet tall.
What?
And he was carrying a bow and arrows.
Did he sort of have a baby face?
Yes. How did you know?
Sarah, that was Cupid.
Oh.
Did he give us a thumbs up?
Yes, 3 times.
So tell us, what are the Cupid-approved gifts for Valentine's 2024?
He loved our diamond stud earrings starting at $198.
We have 186 different styles and sizes.
And we have more than 1,400 pair in stock.
And Cupid loved our $98 diamond pendant.
It looks like it's worth a lot more.
And every purchase of $298 or more includes a fabulous free travel case to safely transport all of your jewelry.
But mostly, he loved the 4-carat total weight wow diamond engagement ring for less than $4,000.
Welcome to Kessler's for Valentine's Day.
Cupid approved.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Another MVP has joined the roster at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Dr. Ryan Stefanchek. Board certified in sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation, Dr. Stefanchek specializes in non-operative treatment of the spine, chronic pain, all joints, all musculoskeletal problems, and more, emphasizing holistic care first, with a focus on diet, sleep, stress management, and social connections for a patient's well-being. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Make me sweat, make me harder, make me lose my breath, make me water, make me sweat, make me harder, make me lose my breath, make me water.
It is KBN here on ESPN Wisconsin. I'm Kyle. He's Brad Nortman, the longtime NFL player.
Hey.
What do you mean, hey? That's what you were. You're an NFL player. You're everybody's dream.
A lot of people like to make the distinction, though.
Yeah.
For not
punter player.
reasons.
Yeah, I was. I remember growing up as a kid, walking in front of my parents' mirror in like the living room and with the number 1 overall pick. The Arizona Cardinals trash when we were kids. So I was like, the Arizona Cardinals collect Kyle Wallace. And I was, I just knew one day I was going to put that suit on.
Yes, sir.
Only in Madden, baby. Only in Madden. Where were you at for your draft day? When you got drafted, you at home?
Yeah, I was at home. We had a couple people over, and you never really know how it's going to go because punters are not typically drafted, so you're kind of getting prepared to also get ready for the free agent situation. But was at home. My agent called me, and been waiting all day. The Panthers and the Carolina Panthers and the Rams were the 3 teams that were most likely.
Yeah.
And the Jaguars picked Brian Anger third round.
Now the Dallas Cowboys punter.
We
sent him packing.
That's right. And I thought, oh my gosh, that was the team that was most interested in me. There goes my NFL chance. Lo and behold, Carolina still drafted me.
Yeah, too bad you didn't get drafted to the Packers because you would have been able to play with a great quarterback, which you did. You got to play with one great quarterback in Cam Newton, but even better one in Aaron Rodgers. And you heard some whispers about Aaron Rodgers, which led you to believe, plus what you saw with his public persona, that Aaron Rodgers was his own worst enemy. He was the one that held himself back the most. And this is all stems from an article written by Diana Rossini of The Athletic, just talking about some of the behind-the-scenes things that went on this season with the New York Jets. 800-990-3776. That is the talk in text line. And Ben on the talk in text line said, maybe the Packers were just a Brad Nortman away from another Super Bowl. We wasted Rodgers' prime with Tim Massace of the world.
Oh, man.
Did you know Tim?
I did know Tim. Tim's a good guy. Good punter.
Good guy, but you said good punter.
No, good guy and good punter.
Is he a good punter because he could punt good and he made it to the NFL, or is he like a good punter in the NFL?
Well, both. He was a quality.
He was a quality. There it is. I don't want to get you dragged on. I don't want Tim Massey to listen to ESPN Wisconsin or go to Wisconsin On Demand.
He's a good quality punter. I would have loved that opportunity. I fear, though, I would have continued to hurt Wisconsin fans' dreams, though. I think the Packers would have continued to come in second place. Ooh. That's the problem. I think we would have got to the Super Bowl more, would have lost the Super Bowl more.
Josh said, I think it's a mix of both. The Packers have a great recipe for developing talent, but they lack. The lack of Super Bowls with Hall of Fame quarterbacks proves there needs to be a balance of draft and develop and putting their name in the hat for free agency. I absolutely agree. It has been the lack of activity of free agency on offense that has held this team back from reaching the pinnacle and reaching a Super Bowl.
It's pretty crazy when you think about it. This organization, since Ron Wolf took over in the early 90s, it's been so good at identifying and developing talent to where they're always relevant. They're always in the mix. But it's the teams that tip it over the edge a little bit more in free agency. They go a little bit more all in. Those are the ones that then win the Super Bowl. Every time the Packers do that, Reggie White, Charles Woodson, guys that are like difference makers, they end up winning the Super Bowl.
And shout out to our boy Chef Ed. Chef Ed got this whole what type of donut is Joe Barry? What type of donut is Jordan Love? What type of donut is Adrian Griffin? And what type of donut is Aaron Rodgers? And Chef Ed chimed in on the talking text line at 800-990-3776. He said Rodgers is like the donut holes. They're tasty, but always leave you wanting more. And boy, Chef Ed is on point. Because I love me some donut holes, and I always want some more of them.
They're never enough, are they? I mean, it's like good in one bites, but you can't make a whole meal out of it.
You cannot make a whole meal out of it. But also, just talking about donut holes and Joe Barry and the Green Bay Packers still not having a defensive coordinator quite yet, Jake in Milwaukee wanted to chime in on the open DC position. Who do you think is going to be the best candidate for the DC position, Jake? You're on KBN.
I honestly don't really know. Personally, I felt that when Vic Fangio left the Miami Dolphins or was let go, I think the Packers should have jumped on that. I think Matt LaFleur goes internally with the defensive backs coach. I forgot his name, but I think that's the direction Matt LaFleur's going to go.
You said
I think
internally?
That's where he's going to go. I think he will go internally, yes.
Would you be disappointed at that?
I kind of would be. I think maybe get someone from the outside and get a new perspective on things.
All right, cool.
I totally agree.
Thanks so much.
I would be utterly disappointed if he ended up doing that.
Yeah, I said I trust in Matt LaFleur to make the right decision and do his due diligence and figure out who will be a great fit for this organization and really to put a great identity on this defense the same way our offense seems to have an identity of the quarterback being that leader. If you were to keep somebody within that organization that we already have on staff, that would be a shame because guess what? If you had somebody on the staff already that you believed in, Joe Barry would have got fired during the season.
That's a great
point. You
point.
had nobody that you believed in, and so you couldn't move on from Joe Barry quite yet.
If anything, you'd be eager to then give this guy an opportunity. You'd be eager to fire Joe Barry, to be like, we got to get this guy in here right now. We can't even let him get close.
Yeah, that's what you do. When you have really good, talented people around, and that might be one of the reasons why Paul Chryst did get fired during the season, because you had Jim Leonard and you wanted to give him an opportunity to have an audition to see if Jim Leonard could be the guy to lead the Badgers to the next step. I think the Green Bay Packers would have did the exact same thing had they felt they had somebody in-house that could have rose to the occasion and stepped up and been the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, but I don't think that is the case. We're probably going outside.
Yeah, I think so too. And this defense seems to me they just need a shakeup, right? I mean, everything is trending in the right direction. It doesn't seem like the right time to just stay with what you've been doing. And this would be a version of what you've been doing. A shakeup, I think, would be really good for this defense. A new, probably young, energetic way to even just connect with the players. I would be encouraged by an outside hire.
And this all stems from us talking about the Packers still not having a defensive coordinator quite yet. They fired Joe Barry a week ago. Just a week ago. You know that song?
I don't know that song.
Load it up, hot boy. We'll definitely get Bobby Schmurder on there. But are the Packers taking too long to hire a new defensive coordinator? Is that concerning to you? And who do you want to be the next defensive coordinator? 800-990-3776. This is KBN and Brian in Lake Mills. Who do you want to be the Packers' next defensive coordinator?
All right, so I think someone said Barry was hired like a couple of days before the Super Bowl, so we probably have about a week to go. I would absolutely love for, I think it's Zach Orr to be the next coach. Yep. He's the next up-and-comer. The only worry is, and I don't want, I think the guy that they're talking about from Denver, because he's going for head coaching job.
Christian Parker.
Would he be doing that? Yeah, would he be doing that next year again, too, if the Packers are playing well? So the reason why I want Orr is, linebacker coach. He is the next up-and-coming one, being groomed as a defensive coordinator for Baltimore. Bring that fire and that tenacity that this defense sorely needs. And then maybe he brings Queen with him. We need an inside linebacker. It would be good. Not sure if we can afford him.
You know that, Brian. You know the
I know.
That's dream. That's dream. I'm dreaming right there. That went through my mind too, Brian. I ain't mad at you.
Yeah, so get him in. It would be a kind of a nice welcome shakeup. And the only worry is that he might be coveted as the defensive coordinator if McDonald ends up getting a head coaching job in like Washington or Seattle. Maybe he wants to bring him over, or the Ravens want to hire him as their defensive coordinator. So it would be so welcome sight if we could get Orr as the defensive coordinator.
Well, that's the concerning part now is that, the defensive coordinator for Baltimore is now open. A defensive coordinator for Seattle is open. Before you know it, I felt like the Packers were in control of their own destiny. Now it seems like all these other jobs are popping up. That's why I hope that Rob Demovsky is correct and that by maybe the end of the week, maybe into this weekend, the Packers can get this nailed down. I'll say this about Zach Orr. I don't know anything about Zach Orr. I do know Chris Orr, and you can know Chris Orr from Rutledge and Hamilton Crosstalk when we have that on Fridays, and he fills in for Matt Hamilton.
Quite a bit. You might as well just call it, Hamilton and Rutledge and whoever is filling in for Hamilton.
I think there's almost like an informal name of Rutledge and or Hamilton. It's actually pretty clever. But if I have 11 Chris Orr mentalities running around on defense, sign me up for that. Chris Orr is an intense dude, and I love it.
Yeah, I do love that as well. And I'm a little afraid of the young and inexperienced, and that's something that we can talk about, kind of what we want in a defensive coordinator ourselves, because we're hearing from KBN Nation, which I love to hear, but I'm also curious about you being a former NFL player and being in locker rooms with tremendous defensive players of the year, and knowing what it takes for a good defense to be great, and you know what coaches have to do. So I'll be more interested to find out tomorrow kind of your take on who the Packers should be hiring. But right now, Phil in Cedarburg, you got a question on what happened to our boy Jimmy Leonard. I don't know. You tell me.
Why am I not hearing anything about Jim? Jim Leonard should be the leading candidate here. Am I wrong?
I've heard of. Go ahead.
I haven't heard a peep. All I hear is all these millions of guys I've never heard of, and we got this, a guy who's arguably maybe the best defensive mind that I've ever seen, and he should be our number one guy. We should be going after him crazy harder. I don't understand what's going on.
You know what? I have a theory on this, and it might be a little conspiracy, but I just feel like what happened a couple years ago when Matt LaFleur offered Jim Leonard the defensive coordinator position when he was still the DC for the Wisconsin Badgers, and when Jim Leonard turned him down and left him having to go with his second choice to the dance and Joe Barry, and you see how that all worked out. Ladies and gentlemen, never go with your second pick because you'll never be happy. I think he's still salty over that. I don't believe I don't think he is interviewing Jimmy Leonard because Jimmy Leonard turned him down the last time, and he says, you know what? You didn't want us last time. I don't want you now, which I think is a little bit of a mistake because like Mike, I believe it was, who was just on the line, I really think that Jimmy Leonard will be a great addition. Phil in Cedarburg. I really think he'd be a great addition to this team. I know that he hasn't coached in the NFL, but he has so much experience. Mike McDonald, and Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mike McDonald was a defensive coordinator for Michigan and came from college straight to the NFL, and I don't know his experience before that, but he was in college, went to the NFL, coached the Ravens, and now he's the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks all in the span of like 5 years.
Yeah, a lot of times you can make that jump. It's not exactly, but the fact that Jimmy Leonard played for 10 years, so he played the position, he knows what he's doing.
Under Rex Ryan for a lot of that, in Baltimore and the Jets, I believe.
Yep, that's correct. And so, he's been there, he's done that, he's shown he can do it on the college level. I have no doubts he can do it on the NFL level. Very interesting conspiracy theory, though, Kyle, about being blacklisted from Matt LaFleur staff.
He is blacklisted, just like I've been blacklisted from clubs in Milwaukee from what I did in my early 20s, but we ain't going to talk about it. We ain't going to talk about that. I might have been thrown out a few places, and
I feel like we need to talk about that off air, maybe.
Some wild, time. Basically, wild times. I've grown up and I've grown better as well. 800-990-3776. We're talking about the Packers and their defensive coordinator position. Who do you want to see as the Green Bay Packers coordinator, and what type of characteristics do you want to see? And are you concerned at the fact that we have not filled the position yet? You can chime in on the ESPN Wisconsin Talking Text line, but also watch Brad and I live. See that great Jaguars hoodie he has on, the little turtleneck that I have on. You can watch and stream us live by going to YouTube and subscribing to ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube. And you can not only watch us live, but you can also catch all of your favorite ESPN Wisconsin shows right here. But keep it locked. We'll have more conversation on the other side. This is KBN.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman.
Things ever happened to you from a breakup?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, no.
I don't want to talk about it.
You brought it, so I had to ask.
I ain't gonna put my old shorties on blast, but
why not? They're old shorties.
I've had some.
They're old shorties.
My parents listen to this show. I don't want my parents to know the craziness that I've dealt with that they son been a part of.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Southbound on 43, backing up basically from just before Hampton Avenue all the way down through the Marquette. So be prepared for that. Northbound side, still dealing with an accident on the high-rise bridge. So you're seeing backups from around Lincoln up to that point. Westbound on 94, slowing down out of the Marquette all the way to Mitchell Boulevard, almost to Hawley Road. The eastbound side's going to be slow from 76th Street to about 27th Street. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 36. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a high of 42. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Traffic is brought to you by Great Lakes Dragway. Gear up for the spring season at the legendary Great Lakes Dragway. Season-long family passes are available now at GreatLakesDragway.com.
Hey, it's Kyle Wallace for the Bath Authority. If your bath or shower is old, outdated, has mold and mildew, or broken tiles, you gotta call my friends at the Bath Authority. The Bath Authority provides the highest quality bathroom remodeling products along with a world-class customer experience. Elevate your bathroom to a new level of luxury, style, and safety. Schedule your free in-home estimate today and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath plus 36 months of interest-free financing. TheBathAuthority.com. A better bath awaits.
Hey, this is Jason Wilde from Wilde & Tausch. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Racine Danish Kringles has you covered with their heart-shaped Kringle. You know my family loves Kringle from Racine Danish Kringles, and sometimes they share it with me. Racine Danish Kringles offers a heart-shaped Kringle with pink icing in raspberry, chocolate silk, cherry, and pecan flavors to send to your loved one. Order at Kringle.com or call 800-4DANISH. Racine Danish Kringles, the official pastry of ESPN Wisconsin. It's not just a treat, it's a tradition. Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Associated Bank. Here in Wisconsin, we love our sports year-round, right down to the Packers games and the Lambeau snow. If you want to show your love for the green and gold every day, you got it with Associated Bank's exclusive Packers checking account. A one-of-a-kind debit card, a 10% discount at the Packers Pro Shop, plus everything you'll score as an Associated Bank customer. Best of all, you'll get a banking partner based right here in the Midwest. Visit AssociatedBank.com/Packers to get started today. You've got this with Associated Bank. Member FDIC.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 36 months. You heard that right. No interest for up to 36 months if you book by January 31st. Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities, with maximum design flexibility in dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Hurry! To get the 0% interest up to 36 months, you have to book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Get your game on at the Island Resort and Casino with first-round picks of your favorite slots and table games. Watch your team compete on big screens in Team McSee's Sports Bar or the Sports Illustrated Sportsbook Room. Yes, you can bet the spread, parlays, futures, and more with Sports Illustrated Sportsbook at Island Resort and Casino. Your place to bet on sports. To book a game-time getaway at the Island, call 800-682-6040 today.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
From the trenches, never had a heart. Drug dealer, contract killer, lawyer from the start. I put that down on short. I've been serving raw. They sound fake, but I say, yeah.
Hey, it's Kyle Wallace right here on KBN, and I'm here for Universal Windows Direct. If you've been cold in your own home, do not suffer through one more winter in a cold and drafty home. I want you to call my guys at Universal Windows Direct. Universal Windows has this incredible technology developed by NASA. Yes, developed by the NASA. It's called Super Spacer. It helps keep the edge of the glass warmer, holds the window seal longer, and makes the windows last up up to 5 times longer than other window systems. So you get the best windows for your home within your budget, and they perform better and last longer. Plus, Universal backs it all up with a true lifetime warranty for as long as you own your home and 30 years to the next home owner. Call Universal Windows Direct today, and they'll upgrade you to a new Windows with triple pane glass for absolutely free. That's 3 layers of glass between you and the cold outside. Schedule your free in-home visit today, and for every 2 windows you buy, you get the next 2 free. Yes, buy 2 windows, get the next 2 free, and also a free upgrade to triple pane glass, and they'll double your energy tax credit. Tell them I told you to call and get an additional $250 off your next project. For the last windows you'll ever need, go to universalwindowsdirect.com. That's universalwindowsdirect.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows. This is KBN. I'm Kyle. He is Brad Nortman, and had a lot of fun today talking about defensive coordinator stuff and donuts, and which the donut was absolutely delicious. A baked potato donut, your first ever one.
I'm still tasting it a little bit. It tastes so good.
Yeah, you want another one now,
I do
right?
kind of want another
now,
one.
is that going off your diet? I know you're very regimented, and you eat your oats in the morning, and you have your energy bar that you haven't had your energy bar today.
I snuck it in.
Oh, you did sneak it in.
Around 4 o'clock.
You ate it real quick and fast.
Yeah, so here's how I usually approach it, right? So during the week, Monday through Friday afternoon, I'm pretty regimented. I eat almost the same thing every day, right? And that's by design because I'm just rolling through it. I take that seriously. But come Friday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm usually having at least 1 meal a day where I'm sort of having fun. So Sunday morning donuts, a pizza Friday night, a couple of carblesses. I mean, I'm definitely having fun. Now, the carbless isn't so bad. I mean, that keeps everything on par how the diet wants to be. But when it comes to food, I'll have a few treats here and there. But by doing it well on the weekdays, allows me to have some fun on the weekends.
Oh, well.
Is that a good way to live?
No, that is interesting. I wish I had that type of structure in my life. I wish I had that type of will where I wouldn't just eat a donut that was put in front of me. I can say, literally, I ain't going to eat chips. But if I see a chip, I'm digging my hand in that bag to eat me some chips.
There is something about chips that definitely, one is not enough. Like, you got to finish out the bowl. And
can't stop eating them.
You can't stop eating them.
You absolutely can't. But you know who we can't get enough of?
Who's that?
Homer.
Ooh, let's go.
I love me some Homer. I want to hear what Homer has to say about the defensive coordinator position. I also want to know if he has any advice for Papa Ben Bruss. Keep it locked. You're listening to KBN. Homer is coming up next.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN.
And make sure everyone's tuning in when we do this, because y'all's faces are going to be like,
it better be sweet.
If you think I'm going to act like that for oatmeal, you're outside your damn
You've never
mind.
had Brad Nortman's oatmeal.
It's not Quaker,
I've also
is
had
it?
chocolate chip pancakes with butter
organic.
and syrup that make me go, oh, baby, oatmeal ain't going to do that.
You'll be surprised. I'm going to do a variety.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Badger football fans, Brad Nortman here, inviting you to the Big Red Rally, an evening full of fun, football, and food, hosted at the Italian Community Center in downtown Milwaukee on February 8th. Meet the Badgers' newest recruits and hear directly from head coach Luke Fickell. Tickets to the Big Red Rally can be purchased individually or in tables of 10, with special discounts for UW-Madison grads. Jump around downtown Milwaukee to the Big Red Rally on February 8th and be part of the tradition. Visit uwalumni.com/events for more information. I will see you there.
Don't put your life on hold to earn a degree. Lakeland University has a long history of making students' dreams come true. Since 1862, build a schedule that meets your needs with options for 7- and 12-week courses, evening classes, and the ability to join classes remotely. Lakeland University is Wisconsin's leader in evening and online education. They have a main campus in Sheboygan County and 6 centers throughout the whole state. Lakeland University. Affordable, quality, flexible. Find out your next steps at info.lakeland.edu.
Hey, it's Gary Olson here for Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center. Looking for that midday escape? Or maybe you want to impress a client? No matter the season, rain, snow, or shine, Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center is open for you. A top-tech, cutting-edge golf experience that gives you the chance to play legendary courses. Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center simulators, entertainment, and best Bloody Marys make it feel like summer all year round. Just $35 an hour gets you a round and puts that summer feel back in your life. Book your bay at WisconsinIndoorGolfCenter.com.
And ESPN Radio Extra Point with Freddie Coleman.
Only 4 guys have more yards passing this year in the National Football League than Brock Purdy.
Tua Tagovailoa was number 1 of Miami. Jared Goff of Detroit was number 2. Dak Prescott of Dallas was number 3. Josh Allen was number 4. He threw for more yards than the guy he's about to face 13 days from now in the Super Bowl when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. He had 31 touchdowns and 11 interceptions, which was 4 more touchdowns and 3 less interceptions than the guy he's about to face in the Super Bowl named Patrick Mahomes of Kansas City. And I'm not putting him in the same area code as Patrick Mahomes, but because he doesn't look the part of what you want your elite or potential elite quarterback to be, a lot of people are not going to give them the due that he has clearly earned in the regular season and in the 2 playoff games in which he played bad in the first half and had convenient amnesia and was terrific in the second half versus Green Bay and then Detroit this past Sunday.
If you only have a 401k, you're not getting the most for retirement.
Wait, what?
Add a Robinhood IRA on top, then they'll boost it by 3%.
You can do that?
And if you transfer in any retirement account, you get 3% on top of that.
Is there a limit to the match?
No limit. Robinhood Gold gets you the biggest contribution match of any IRA on the market. Sign up for Robinhood Gold at Robinhood.com/boost by April 30th. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Match on transfers subject to additional terms and conditions. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 10% when you buy 68 or more panels of select OSB sheathing. Plus, save an extra 5% every day on eligible purchases when you use your Lowe's business credit card. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. 5% offer subject to credit approval. Exclusions and terms apply. See store at Lowe's.com/credit for details. U.S. only. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
Hey, it's Kyle Walsh for Universal Windows Direct. If you've been cold in your own home, do not suffer through one more winter in a cold and drafty home. Call my guys at Universal Windows Direct. Schedule your free in-home estimate today, and for every 2 windows you buy, you get the next 2 free. Plus, a free upgrade to triple pane glass, and they'll double your energy tax credit. Tell them I told you to call and get an additional $250 off your project. Go to UniversalWindowsDirect.com, and you'll be saying, I love my windows.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Yes, I'm drinking whiskey. In fact,
you know what that music means. It's Dr. Duke.
He is so good.
Yeah.
He's as good today as when I saw him in 1973 in Vegetable Buddies, South Bend, Indiana.
And Homer, you are as good as when you first started radio in 1953.
It was 1980, no. The mic turned on. I couldn't remember my name.
No way. Is that why you say, just call me Homer?
No, I was scared. I didn't, because you're on.
Wait a minute. So when did you finally speak? You're like,
I'd say it was quiet. It felt like a week, but it was probably 10 or 15 seconds.
Was it always sports radio? Was it?
No. I was from 6 to midnight, WIXK in New Richmond, and the guy who taught me radio, Captain Whammo. We all had to have nicknames because that's what you did in radio. He was Captain Whammo. This fat man. That's all. Everybody had nicknames, and my nickname was the Falcon.
The Falcon. I like that.
You're listening to the Falcon at night. Now, the problem, I didn't have the voice for the Falcon, but so when the mic went on, I wanted to go, the Falcon has made it. They had already told me, you can't be the Falcon. I mean, no, you got a name. Use your name. So
where did Homer come from?
I was not the Falcon, but after I'd worked at this station for about, 2 weeks, they were going, that dude is strange. And so I started being slightly strange at night. So I'm in Madison, and I was doing a morning show, not sports, and they needed somebody to do a weekend sports show during the middle of the week. I said, well, I got to have a different name. It's a different person. So I said, I'm going to be the Homer. Because I always thought you really root for the home teams because you want them to win. Your life, I'd cover teams. Life is so much better when the team wins. People think, well, you like them to lose because then you get more calls in sports talk. It's crap. So I said, I'm going to be the Homer, but the first rule of Homerism is I'm a Homer, but I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to lie for the team. I'm not going to tell you at that time, like, Bart Starr is a great coach. It sucked.
Did you ever think that the nickname would follow you decades later?
Yeah, because I adhered to Captain Whammo. Like, Homer was a weird name. I mean, they're going to remember it. If I've been in the South, it'd been different. Now, the mistake I made when I came to Milwaukee in '89, I never should have told them my name. I should have been like a soccer guy. What's your name? Homer. What's your real name? Because women who don't listen would always go, Homer, Steve True, the Homer. What is your name?
When I first actually found out his name, I thought it was fake. I was like, whose last name is True? That's a fake last name. I said, his whole name is fake. Actually, I found out there's somebody who worked in radio here locally, and she went by a name, and until she started working with us, I had no idea what her real name was. I was like, wait a minute, that's not your real name. And so Homer did a great job.
And it's just as he said, it works. People remember. So I should have just been the Homer. That's it. Steve True, what? That I don't know. This is all confusing.
Well, so you had a wealth of experience in a number of different things, Homer. And one of the things we talked about today.
I'm just older.
Well, thus more experience.
But Ben Brust, he's like out for what, 3 years because his wife has a kid. What a joke!
How do you feel about this paternity leave?
That's his baby mama, not his wife, by the way.
She was born in 1989. I'm in Madison doing Badger basketball with Brian Manthe, and there's a game that evening. She's born at 11 a.m., and I say to my wife, so what about tonight? She goes, I feel terrible. Just get the hell out of here. What am I just want to sleep. And so I'm doing the game, and, Brian being nice. I don't know if you know, is this a great? He says, so I wasn't Homer yet. So how's it going? I go, it's a good day. We have a daughter born at 11 a.m. He goes, when? I go, today. He goes, today? You're not supposed to be here. I asked my wife. She said, get the hell out of here. I feel terrible. Let me just sleep.
Are you sure
now they get off 6 months. And I just want everybody to know it's a joke.
Yeah, no.
Not because it's hard on women, but they're doing all the work.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
You can help support the women, right?
Yes, yeah.
I want to support my baby mama, my future wife.
No,
I want my kid to be able to latch on to me and attach to me as well.
Well, let me just tell you, it ain't happening, dude. You ain't her mom. You ain't the baby's mom. All right? You're a poor second. But no, everybody has I want to, and maybe there may be like 10% that feel that way. The rest of them like, hell, I get the time off. Let's go.
I want my 3 months of vacation.
Our daughter just had a little baby boy.
Congratulations.
Wanted to be Homer, but they decided on Hugo. He's Spanish.
That's pretty good.
Anyway, so Jaime gets time off. I don't know, maybe he gets like 5 years off. I don't know. He doesn't know what to do. He's like, he can help a little bit, but
he can recharge his batteries and build a relationship with your
grand full family unit.
There's no way. And people have lived it. The bond between the child and the mother is like on a scale of 1 to 10. The bond between the child and the father is like 0.2.
So what you're saying is Ben is wasting his time being at home.
He should be here.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make sure I'll bring that out. Homer thinks he should be here. So when it comes to 4-day work weeks, you're probably out on that one too.
No, we've just become Europe. The first time you go over to Europe, you go, does anybody ever work here?
They got stroll around quite a bit.
It's hot some places, so they're off from 3 to 6. But fundamentally, you just go, nobody works. Well, I mean, if you can get that, then I guess you do it. But what? Like, people work 5 days and go, oh, man. No, they're fine. If they'll give it to you, you'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, if ESPN offered it to me, I would take it. I would get bored, though. I would definitely get bored. But
you wouldn't get bored.
The
3-day work week.
You would find something else to fill the time.
Do you know how boring my Saturday was? When my girlfriend did something with her friends on Saturday night at 6 o'clock, I had nothing to do. By the time I looked at the TV, I'm like, it's 9 o'clock, and what am I going to do? Like, I can't talk to her. I got nothing else to do. I was like,
maybe pick up a hobby.
That's one day.
That's what I'm saying. So imagine that being multiple days. Like, I get 3-day weekends. Like, it'd be rough for me.
The next thing it'll be like, man, that's 2 days a week working.
Yeah, we need to take this down
too much.
Homer.
All right, how many people do you know that you've known in friends 5 days a week, and you go, oh, that dude needs to work 4 days. He just or she. No, come on.
I mean, I would take it, but I'm not advocating for it because I know, like you said, it's a slippery slope.
Well, there's a fundamental problem that's existing and it's getting greater and greater.
What is that?
There's no need for humans.
Oh, that AI.
I said that.
You're going to take your voice. You're going to live on forever. You know that,
No.
right?
Yeah, you're
Right
going
now,
to be the voice of Marquette forever.
No,
forever.
they get what is it?
AI?
AI Homer would be better than Homer.
No, that's what they'll do. They'll take your voice and it'll be AI
Right.
Homer. You will be the voice of Marquette forever.
Right, but
forever.
they don't need me.
Yeah,
I
they're
know.
just going to take your voice and they're going to have this thing.
The AI basically just gives you the ultimate amount of information. And they just look at all the opinions Homer's had. They damn well know exactly what I'm going to think about the next opinion. And the same with all of us. I don't know what the point of people is. What do we serve? What purpose do we serve?
I don't know. Homer.
It's dwindling by the day.
Other than making new people.
Populating.
Brad, I don't know. I can't speak for Brad. I'm not good at that. Clearly, I have no children, so
You get time.
thank you. I appreciate. Well,
You'd be a great dad. The saddest part to me
Uh-huh.
is people your age and stuff who would be fabulous parents. Like, we can't afford it. Nobody can afford kids. It's total chaos. It's a total mess. But do it. Humanity needs people like you to be parents.
Well, thank you, Homer.
Devil too.
All right. Well,
Yes.
I'll take your advice. I hope my lady's listening. And let's get to it. Well, Homer,
That's not exactly what I said. But I got to get the point now.
that is Homer. He's Brad. I'm Kyle. This has been KBN. Keep it locked because the Homer Hour is next here on ESPN Wisconsin.
Well, we have a disabled vehicle northbound on 894, just north of the Hale interchange, blocking the left lane, so watch out for that. We did have a crash on southbound 43 at Locust that was blocking the right lane. Looks like they were able to get that off of the freeway. Damage done, though. Delays pretty heavy right from the Capitol Drive area down past that scene, and then back on the brakes from North Avenue all the way down through the Marquette. Westbound